Welcome back to the Juice.
Bang.
Oh, make sure to catch me and Max in Tampa. Yeah, making a run for USA national team.
Just might see us at Worlds.
Maybe.
I mean,
Dude.
if not us, who?
Right.
Ooh, I know. They definitely need observers. Sorry. Are we still rolling?
Yeah, no, that's...
Look, tell me who you know doing things like the Lemon Boys do it on the way to the top. This just elevator music, matter of fact, this a slap. I ain't even playing hockey. I'ma put it in reverse like Fanaki, cocky. Never we killing these brothers softly, awfully clever. You know you could never stop me, huh? Y'all be driving stick shift, this is auto. You know I'll turn it up, G Donato. I wanna beat up the beat, you gotta see us to see. Put the whole house on it, you know that Keenan is key. Squad so deep, take a map just to find them all. And you know I'm about to eat like a Ryan Paul. Full top, no rest, crown, I wear it, Big cut, big flex, Mike Garrett. Run the game round here, this is natural. And you know I got the touch like a match pole. Spike lemonade, on the way to the top, about to elevate. Spike lemonade, and the boys don't play, better get it straight. Spike lemonade,
I always get
Should I look at the camera for the intro?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Yes. All right. 3, 2. Welcome back, everybody. You're listening to Spike Lemonade Podcast, where we're squeezing out all the juice and leaving no stone unturned. I'm Josh Donato, my special co-host, Maddie Spo, and our fantastic guest this evening, Max Gunneson. Max, well, first off, very, very excited for you to be here.
Welcome.
Yeah. Max is a New Jersey guy, been playing since 2021, competitively.
Sure-ish.
We're going to get into
We'll break
this.
it down.
We'll
yeah.
break it down. We'll get into his story. But I wanted to intro you like this, Max, because you were one of the first people when we started putting the podcast together that showed like a little bit of interest, like, oh, this is cool. You guys are doing something cool. When I was pretty much just kind of hustling it by myself and trying to get people like into it. And I remember going to a pickup one time, and our mutual pal Jake Motter said, he was just like, he goes, dude, you know who really loves a podcast? And I was like, who? He goes, Gunneson, Max Gunneson. I was like, really? He goes, yeah. He's like, he has his notifications on for when you said the next one now. And I remember being so hype about that. So I wanted to intro with that being like, you were probably like the first guy outside of like the core Lemon Lads, and somebody that I met through RoundNet that was like, you're doing a good job. This is cool. So, I've splurged a little bit here, but I appreciate you, and I appreciate you being here. And the floor is yours. Welcome.
Well, I mean, we hadn't even met at that point.
No.
I think I'd listened to the first couple episodes with you guys, and I hadn't even met you at the time. So I would tell just the people that I knew you played with, the fellow Lemon Lads, that I was liking what I was hearing. Even that first podcast that you did with Ryan and all the like OG episodes I liked, and then the first episode that you guys did together in Montclair, right?
Yes.
Where you did your like end of year rankings and stuff. I remember you had some nice words for me in that, so that was cool to hear. So yeah, I'm a day one fan for sure. I've loved it. I think podcasts in RoundNet are I think they're the future. I think it's going to take off. It could be, but I think I think you got a good thing going. I think this is good for people to hear.
I didn't know you were day one.
I
knew you got into
it.
it, and like around right before I joined, but I didn't know you were day one.
As early as it gets.
He was.
Really?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He was the first compliment that I got, basically kind of through someone else outside of our group. And I was just like, whoa, that's pretty cool. Because when I first got introed into the game in New Jersey scene, you had a little bit of this like mystique, like Max Gunneson's here playing. I'd be like, oh shit, like today's gonna be legit, So it was cool. Yeah, no, Max is sturdy. We have a surprise.
Yeah,
guest.
so we do have a cat here.
Come here, pal. Hold on, we'll cut back in.
So that is Sushi. That is Josh's and his fiance Amanda's cat. They are wonderful, wonderful people with a wonderful, wonderful son that they call their cat. But the cat's in a little annoying, little kitten stage, I guess, but it scratches, and it's a gets in the way.
It's new to the game.
Yeah, I'm not a cat person, so
No.
like that cat's fine because you see it. I have a friend growing up who like he had a cat, but you never saw it. I think I've seen the cat twice, and I've known him for 22 years. So like, that's not my vibe with
Start
cats.
to wonder if it's still alive.
Right,
Yeah.
literally, I don't know
Like
what it's doing.
When it eats.
Yeah.
You know, food goes
Exactly.
at some time. Don't see it take it though. You know.
It's just a big
Someone's
mystery with cats.
filling up that litter box, and
it's not my friend.
yeah. So,
right?
Yeah. Okay, so let's do this. I'm going to rapid fire some questions at you, bro.
Okay.
So that the average listener who doesn't know as much about New Jersey Roundnet as a whole can get to know you.
Mm-hmm.
How old are you?
I'm 21.
21 years old. What year are you in? Where are you going to school currently?
I'm a senior at the University of Delaware.
Okay. What are you studying?
Business analytics.
Beautiful. Business. I didn't know that actually.
Mhm.
Business analytics.
Yep.
You played in your first ever competitive Roundnet tournament in Wildwood 2021 on the beach, just like me, correct?
Yes.
Yes. What drew you to the game initially? We do these sort of intro stories, but just to give me the condensed, like, what drew you to the game initially and made you want to actually, like, play?
Yeah, so I still play a lot of volleyball, and I saw Roundnet as something similar to that. So I was hoping that my skills could translate a bit. And so I picked it up quickly just because I had decent touch and I could hit a ball, but I would hit the ball as if I were playing volleyball. So that sort of style. So I could be accurate with it, and I knew how to control it.
Right.
But yeah, I just thought it looked similar to volleyball. So I was like, I'll give that a try.
When you first got into playing the game, was there anything or any tournament result that you can pinpoint being like, all right, I'm actually going to I enjoy volleyball. I do other things. You ran cross country in high school.
Mm-hmm.
Where you said, you know what, screw it. I'm going to dive in a little bit deeper here, start attending pickups, attending tournaments, and going to go. Because right now, you are a very high-level player, but you don't just get there from being a decent volleyball player. So, when did you lock in?
I locked in a while before playing my first tournament. I played pickup. Summer of 2020 was when I first started playing in an effort to get better. I had played a couple times, with my friends here and there, if we had nothing to do, or use it as a beach game, sort of. But that summer, I didn't have much else to do, so it was something fun for my friends to do, and we played so much every day, probably 5-6 hours, 6-7 days a week, just because we had the time and it was fun. And what we would do is we would run first, and because all my friends were on my track team or my cross country team, so we would run together, and then we still had the whole afternoon left, so we played spike ball for the remaining 4 or 5 hours of the day. So we got pretty good quick, and I was like, yeah, I think I just had so much fun playing it. And I was like, I found out about tournaments and stuff, and I knew I wanted to at least try and see if I could be, halfway decent.
How did you find out about tournaments? Where did you see, oh, there's a tournament being played?
Yeah, so I first heard of tournaments. I knew about tournaments before I started playing because my cousin actually played competitively in 2018. He was in the pro division, which I don't know if I've ever told you guys about.
You told
that.
me this.
What in the world?
Yeah.
This is a cool story.
Yeah. So I heard about it through my cousin because he was playing.
What's his name?
His name's Joey Heffertepe. So he played on a
Come
Roundnet
again?
team.
What's his last name?
He
It's an unbelievable.
He knows
a
he
good
knows
one.
Spencer
Spencer
Longfellow.
Longfellow. They
Yeah.
have to be related.
Not quite, but it is a good one. It is
It's
a
an
good one.
unbelievable name.
Yeah. My mom's maiden name. She's proud of it.
Yeah,
She's proud
as
of it.
she should be. That's
But,
awesome.
Yeah.
All right,
So
keep going. I interrupt you.
So I knew that he was playing competitively, and he was doing what we do, traveling and playing for real, trying to be as good as he could. And so he played on a team called Joey and Joey Roundnet in 2018 in the pro division, his partner, also named Joey Pierron, and they're from the Chicago region, like suburbs of Chicago. So I saw the game for the first time in his garage one summer when I was in Chicago. And I was like, "What's that?" And he goes, "Oh, it's spike ball. It's just this game that I play sometimes." And that's all he said. Like, I didn't know like how good he was and how like much of a scene there was. So that's like something that I tell people who've been playing for longer, like, "Oh, you might know my cousin Joey Heffertepe," and they're like, "Oh yeah, it's so funny that you're
crazy.
related to him." So I knew about tournaments, and I knew that he was like nationally ranked and was like playing and winning money and was traveling to tournaments, like driving all over and flying, and was in the pro division. I was like, "Oh, pro spike ball, that's a thing." Okay, so I guess there is something behind this. And then when my friends and I started playing, I was like, "No, there are tournaments, and there are people who are really, really good, and like there's some backing behind this. There's a lot more people that play this than we think." So then I kind of like hooked my friends. They're like, "Oh, like we could do something with this. We could play against other people. We could maybe win money at a tournament or something like that."
And then it sort of grew from there. You currently, right now, for the listeners, Max is a number 4. We're end of year, so we're ish, but currently number 4 based off our mid-year rankings, number 4 overall player in the state of New Jersey. End of year rankings kind of come out in maybe the next, what would you say, a couple weeks to a month?
Yeah.
Soon. We'll see. Could see some movement. I don't know. I don't think you'd go down, but you may go up. This is 3/5 of the panel here of the committee for the New Jersey rankings. So time will tell. But if you don't know anything about Max Gunneson, let me tell you one thing. The man was built to hold. He was built to serve receive well and consistently. And I've seen the footage. If you're watching this right now, anyone listening to this probably knows of Vinny from Canada. Go back to the Christmas Classic of last year and look at Vinny's replays from the day. On the day, you received him better than anyone else. And that's just from me watching all the footage. You were there. Maybe you haven't watched back all the games of everyone else. I have. Oh, Jesus, Matt, I'm sorry. This is going to bring back trauma.
I didn't do too well, but
no.
But Max crushed it.
You received him so well, bro. And I think it's a testament to, we talked a little bit pre-pod, your footwork and your commitment to like the serve receive game. Like, I want to pick your brain more about it and like do more stuff like with you and like work on footwork and stuff, because it is so good. So stop what we're doing right here. Pause this podcast. Go to Vinny's replays. Watch him. Funny enough, his team name on the day was
Hold.
Thank you. He played with another New Jersey guy, Kevin McLean. You guys made a very nice team. Lost to them in 2 though, with what words in 2?
It was in 2, yeah.
But they were close. First one was close.
Game 1 was close. Game 2 was like 21-15 probably. They figured us out.
Kevin couldn't do the team name. He couldn't handle his half. Is that what it was?
Kevin gave me a lot of really good sets and a few like important recovery sets on serves that I could only receive like so well.
Right.
But he dined me up a couple times. But also, I think that he might have caught the sort of bad end of some of the serves that they hit. Like, I think they sort of landed some better serves. Vinny landed one serve on Kevin that was, at the time, and may still be the best serve I've ever seen.
With the left or the right?
With the left, yeah. It hit the perfect 2 squares on that side of the net and just jumped. And Kevin was just nowhere near it. And when I saw that serve, I was like, I probably would have gotten aced by that. So don't beat yourself up.
That was just a 50-50.
That was a good one. Don't beat yourself up.
So what I'm really trying to do is connect a little bit like to the listener, and I have a couple other directions I'd like to go with you and getting to know you and like where you've been and your journey. One thing I want to talk about is when you went overseas. So you went to study abroad for 1 semester at UDEL, correct?
Yes.
And where did you go to study when you went overseas, and where were you staying?
So I was living in Prague in the Czech Republic.
Okay. It was a Czech Republic. You were I know you did a little bit of traveling while you were there.
Yep.
I was following you a little bit, but you were all over the place. So it was hard for me to know exactly where. But what was the spike ball scene, the round net scene like in Prague? The pickups, the overall vibe over there, being a New Jersey guy that has actually spent some time and dug your feet in there a little bit.
Yeah, so Prague has an actually pretty prominent scene, relatively speaking. That was actually one of the big reasons that I went there, was because I knew that they had players there and they had tournaments there, and I'd be able to play pickup with people. And there were a couple of people that I had already met. I don't know if you guys know Kuba. I met like briefly, so I didn't really know him much, but like we knew who, like he knew who I was. I knew who he was. Jacob Magico, I don't know if you guys know him. Mr. Popluhar on Instagram.
Yeah.
So he was living in Prague at the time. He's not from there originally, but I think I'm not sure if he's still living there, but he was there, so I had met him before. So I sort of already had like a couple connections to pick up, and then I met a few more people. I joined a Facebook group that just had posted about the pickups and stuff and where to go. So I started playing in some of the pickups, and I just like kind of expanded my network, met some other really good players, really awesome community that they have out there, which I knew it would be like pretty good. I knew they had players, I knew people played, but it was surprisingly bigger than I thought.
Really?
Yeah, like if you guys are ever in Prague, like there's no shortage of people to play with.
Wow.
So yeah.
Who was your favorite person to play in Prague?
Play with, play against?
Yes.
Just at the same pickup?
Yes.
Okay.
Like when you went to a pickup and you saw this guy, you're like, oh.
I was excited.
Yeah.
Or I was happy.
Good question.
I loved playing with Kuba. He was a lot of fun to play with. I only got to play a couple times because he doesn't live in Prague, but he would come into Prague for couple times a week for work. So I really liked playing with him. I was a little more, played probably a few more times, played a lot with Jakob Magico. This other kid named Ondra, Lil Ondra that we call him. So he's a shorter fellow, but really, really good serves. And he's a really solid player, just like overall. But like he's got some thump to his serves for sure. So he was really fun to play with. He's also just like, he was just like a funny kid too. So I enjoyed playing with him a lot. But everyone out there is super cool.
Shout out Lalandra.
Yeah,
Shout out.
For you thump, bro. You're the thumper. That's awesome.
He's got some thump. Yeah.
thump.
No, he's gassing some serves for sure.
That's beautiful. What was the women's scene like in Prague, round net wise?
Women's scene was good. Like we had, it felt like almost every pickup we could have a full women's net, like at least 4 women.
That's pretty cool.
Must be freaking nice.
Yeah, no, it
so
was
cool,
nice.
man.
That was one of the first things that stuck out to me, and like one of the first things that I thought was really cool was that there were women who wanted to play and were good, like who could
Actually
really like
could
hold
play.
their own. Yeah. So I was super stoked about that.
Can we bring them over here?
I-
What are they doing that we're not? Was there
Yeah,
anything?
do you
It's
think
so-
there's anything you can pinpoint, or do you
It's
think
so
it's
interesting because I would think about that. The depth that they have in the women's division is just crazy in Europe. So many teams, and you see it in mixed too. Like everybody plays mixed, and there's dozens of teams every tournament.
That's so crazy.
And I don't know what it is. I don't know why. Just people gravitate.
That stinks, man. That stinks.
Yeah.
Why can't we have?
Well, I'm sure we'll hop on the train sometime.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Maybe.
We can hope.
Yeah. So Max went over and studied abroad. I know you played in a few tournaments, made some good connections, some friends, probably still people you keep in touch with.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was really cool. I liked following your journey over there and seeing, you traveling around and seeing all the different cities in Europe. Let's fast forward a little bit to this year. The only other place that I think that a majority of people watching this pod may or may not have seen you was on the podium in the championship. And not for the pro division.
Yeah, in a certain division.
But not yet, at least.
Maybe
But
the most important division of the weekend.
Who knows?
Maybe the most,
Right?
Who knows?
Yeah, the Mammoth division. What'd you think about how it went? How did you enjoy it? and talk to me a little bit about the set.
Mammoth was super fun. I remember not knowing what to expect really, because I had played on it a couple times at the Philly Major. I remember playing with you, Matt, and Jake and Lorna. Like we played maybe a game or two, and I hadn't really figured out. I remember like hitting. I really hadn't figured out. I was lipping like all my hits, or I would try and hit the ball high, and that just wouldn't work.
Would not go anywhere.
It just wouldn't go anywhere, or I'd just like lip
really?
everything up. So I didn't really know like if I would be any good. Like I felt like I could do well, but I wasn't sure. I didn't really have any expectations on the day or like for the set, but there was definitely a learning curve, especially with my setting. Like I was leaving lots of sets short just because you have to put a little more gas behind the ball.
To get it.
Setting is hard in the Mammoth.
Yeah.
Like the ball with the 2 layers being heavier, it kind of like dies more, so you got to push through it more. That's the biggest thing I think for me to try and adjust to that whole day was just setting. And even by the end of the day, it still felt like, okay, I can get this towards the net. I don't know if it's going to make it to the net, but I'll give you a shot. And it's just like, that's what I felt was the most like.
Yeah. I felt by the end of the day, I had it pretty dialed. I think what I'm worst at, I guess apart from serving, I couldn't really serve on that. I was trying like all different serving stances and stuff. I couldn't really do like my normal serves. But I think I was setting pretty well by the end of the day. My hitting still was like, I was still like lipping up a little bit, but I don't know. That's just kind of how the net is. Sort of everyone was. That's the thing. Except for Swamp Donkeys. They looked pretty
If
If it wasn't a perfect hit, it was going to lip up.
Yeah.
Like it had to be perfect sound, everything.
Do you think the net could be tighter?
I think so.
I think that
Could
would
be.
help.
Well, it would help in some ways. It would hurt in others, I think. Like maybe hits would stop lipping as much, but I think the reason that the net is so loose is to make hitting harder, and that's kind of something you need. Is hitting's kind of overpowered right now.
When I got my Mammoth, it came with the adjustable strap.
Oh,
and I tightened the shit out of it. Just like pulled as hard as I could. And I thought it was better from playing a little bit on it with like Gabe, Connor, and Mike, where you had a little net going, and it helped a little bit, but it was still like nothing crazy. I think it's definitely supposed to be looser, but like I don't know. I think it should be tighter.
It looks like it maybe could use a little being a little tighter. Someone just posted something over in Colorado, the Colorado Spike House. They got a net, and like for the first time ever, like the gameplay that they had on that actually looked legit. But I watched it twice, and the second time through, I really focused on the net, and it looked tighter.
Yeah.
So I don't know if
They might have
messing
pulled
with
it real
something
tight,
else,
too.
or yanked it as tight as it can be. But it looked a little better.
Yeah, it's not even the lippiness of the net. It's just it slows the ball down so much, which is I think like the main thing. Like sure it's harder to hit like super clean and super low, but even if you do, just the fact that the ball's coming that much slower, I think is the big difference.
That's fair.
Did you find that a lot of your really good hits were probably Simo?
Yeah, I think so.
Like every single low hit was definitely a Simo.
Like
really?
Probably a lot of them.
Yeah.
Like
just the way it was, like it had to come off your fingers at the same time that it was like rubbing right across the
if
net.
you really wanted to keep it low.
Yeah. Otherwise, it was just gonna pop up right to them.
Do you think people would be able to figure out serving on it? Like
Mike Garrett figured out serving on it.
Ryan Marino figured out serving on it. He was
that
like
day?
Yeah. Oh yeah. When we played him for third place, he felt like swinging both times. Like me the whole day, I just
got
put
it
like gentleman serves on for second serve.
Swing hard.
He was swinging
first.
righty, lefty, reverse, both hands, going and landing like consistently. So I think people will figure out how to serve. I am not in that group yet, but
do you think you ever will be in that group?
Of people who know how to serve on Mammoth?
Yeah.
I think one day I'll figure out.
If they switch to Mammoth for competitive, then maybe.
I think so, yeah.
If they don't switch to Mammoth, would you? You think you're gonna play it enough to get serving on there?
Mammoth?
I don't see myself
don't
ever
know.
playing on
Probably
my Mammoth
not.
unless they really push for it.
I haven't played
Yeah.
since the championship. I haven't played once
Yeah.
on it. It was really fun, and I just haven't touched it since.
Yeah, it's a part of me that just doesn't want to like mess with calibrating my brain to a different height in a
Yeah.
different game just yet.
Mm-hmm.
Just because they've sort of left it so open-ended. So like that over-competitiveness in me is like not yet. I do like the ball. I do like the feel of the ball. The ball's kind of sweet. And I still want to try maybe the pro ball on the Mammoth net and see kind of how that plays. Maybe the ball is a little bit more lively, but the net itself has the little bit of give. Maybe there's a middle ground. I'm not sure. But we got Max Gunneson here. A little bit of your intro, time overseas, your game. We'll touch on a couple other things too as we go. We talked about your experience in the Christmas Classic and then ultimately your big showing in the Mammoth tournament, which was a lot of fun too. We got to watch here from home.
Yeah.
I was left out of the loop. All I saw was your thing was Gunneson and Corey Weiss
Oh, yeah.
on Flango. So I was just
Yeah.
like, all right, well, Corey, our pal Corey Weiss from New Jersey, had an injury, cut his hand, missed a month or so. Here he's recovering. But I was like, you know what? Corey's at the championship. I saw him wearing the thing, maybe just playing playing Mammoth and having fun. And then you guys like did okay in pool play, and I was like, all right, Corey may be figuring this out. Then you made it out of like the round of 30 or whatever into the round of 8, and I was just like, what the hell is going on? Corey's dialed
Corey's gotta
in.
be going insane.
Yeah. And then I
Couldn't be
turned.
Max. It was Corey.
No.
Corey's dialed.
Yeah, no.
Corey's
Corey
dialed.
No,
Corey
he's
had
got
it
to be
together.
dialed on with one hand.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so then I turned on the feed and then I saw it was you and Thomas Hoffman and I was just like, oh, gotcha. Okay,
sense.
Corey's not out here with one
No,
hand
he's not.
playing.
He was supporting us though.
Was he?
Yeah, he was there for most of the day.
Yeah.
Corey's the Brody. So this time last year, Maddie and I got on the pod and we did end of season awards. We were in Montclair. We recorded, that was the first one he and I did together. I brought 2 lavalier mics. One of them barely turned on. It was a little scratchy in your ear. Production quality was atrocious.
Sitting
but it was
20 feet away from the camera.
Camera.
With our thighs out,
With
with
our-
spreading on these chairs.
Yeah.
Totally different game.
Yes, we had some hot takes, but it was a lot of fun. And we decided to do it again. And we were going to just spring it on you and be like, hey, guess what? We're doing it again
Yeah.
with you. But then we talked about it a little. We're like, I'd rather you have time to prepare some answers and not be sitting here like with some dead space. Like, I don't even know. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
That's
give
what
you
happened
some-
with me. It was just a lot of like, oh, I don't know. Maybe this, maybe that.
A lot
It
of
was
get
just-
back to me on that.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah. Let
Like,
me
you go
think.
first.
You
You
go
go
first.
first.
Yeah. So what we did was, this will be included when we post the podcast. We'll also throw it up on the Instagram. Some of these polls are answers. We'll tag some people. We'll tag some clubs. We'll tag some venues. All sorts of things. We have 10 categories here. And we're going to go through these one at a time. We have 10 awards to give out. 10 awards grouped, but some of them we're giving out an award for male and for men's and for women's. So it'll be fun.
Oh, I'm excited.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
This one I was excited for.
Here's the thing I'd say. If we give an award and someone else gives the person for which you gave your award, don't be afraid to just still give your vote. Don't just change it for the sake of wanting another person's name in there, and we'll do some honorable mentions too. You know what I'm saying? So if all 3 of us are in agreement on someone, let's just say it. Let's not just change it for the sake of changing it. Category 1 for the 2023 end of year Spikeball STS all over the world round net season. I love this category.
I do too. This is my favorite one.
Category 1, we're going to look for the best and worst jersey in the game. So what I'll do is I'll just sort of MC it. Max, I'm going to go to you first. In 2023, which team, player, or individual or individuals rocked the cleanest jersey in the game?
I loved a lot of the jerseys.
Right.
I think a lot of teams out there have really cool jerseys. I think my favorite would probably have to be the assistive touch jerseys that they were wearing at the championship. I'm a big fan of purple as a
Okay.
color, so They were rocking a lot of purple, a lot of blue. I love the design. I love their logo, the font they use. Like every detail seems really well thought out to me. So I was a big fan of theirs. Hope I didn't steal your answers.
It was clean. Let's also, when we get the opportunity to, let's give shout outs back to last year, because I think that was your answer last year.
I said this is a touch last year.
Yeah,
Their pink
right.
with their because I was a big fan of the pink.
Yes.
And the pink basically same like style.
Yeah.
With different colors. And I was a big fan of that one. That was my vote last year and I loved that one.
Maddie, you have the floor.
All
Best
right.
jersey.
Best jersey. I'm giving it to Critical Hit. Those jerseys are badass. The black and yellow, you can never go wrong. The
Fair,
swirls and their logo was just hot, and it was like, it looked super clean.
Mm-hmm.
It looked super aggressive, like professional.
Mm-hmm.
I was a big fan of the Critical Hit jerseys.
I honestly couldn't agree more with that, because it was put together, and I liked that they had sort of a whole kit. Like they wore the same color shorts, maybe even socks. I wasn't paying attention that much, but maybe so, because they just looked like a team. And I loved the font that they used for their last names. Like the font popped too. It wasn't just like
jagged.
It was tight. So I'm gonna go best jersey 2023. I'm actually gonna go with in system. I like all whites. Sometimes a jersey is just strikingly white and bold. I like the design for their jersey concept, where they took like the net, they implemented a certain rotation on defense. Jersey kit was clean. Wonky Sauce. Oh my gosh, look at this.
There
We
you
just
have
pulled
it.
it up
I
here.
mean-
Wonky Sauce's original jersey was so badass. If I had to put money on it, I bet you Blake designed that too, and he delivered again with the in-system white on blue. On the shoulder, they had like some sort of Canadian logo. I know we're seeing it
They
here.
had
but
one for each where they were from. So they have one for British Columbia for Blake, and then Quebec for Etienne.
unbelievable.
So that was really cool.
So
Cool
sharp.
touch.
So that's my vote.
What'd you think about the black ones that came out for the championship?
So they were dark blue, and I didn't dislike them, but I didn't like them as much as the whites. And I know we busted Blake's balls a little bit with the original Wonky being unbelievable, and then the new Wonky I really didn't like. So what is that? Is that a black
That's
on
the
blue?
black. That's the black and the
Black
blue.
on blue. I guess we're both right, because you are right. They are black.
Yeah.
They're good. I just they don't pop as much as the
The
all
white's
whites
cleaner.
to me.
I think the white's cleaner.
Yeah. So we have an in system, we have an assistive touch, and we have a critical hit. Congratulations to our winners. We're going to go to the worst jersey of the year.
Now, are you still a winner if you're voted worst jersey? You won the worst jersey award.
It's still something. You put together either the ugliest, or for whatever reason we've developed. Max, the floor is yours. Who had the ugliest or the hardest to look at? You're the judge.
Hardest to look at jerseys. It's a hard question, because I gotta say, I'm happy with all the jerseys that I saw. If I had to pick a worst, wasn't super thrilled with the Prince, their jerseys. Didn't love them. They just weren't for me. I don't know. I thought they were
What was it?
pretty
Just
plain.
like a...
So they had these red shirts that had this logo. I can't quite remember what it said, but they had their names on the back and they had numbers. I just didn't think there was much going on there.
Right. So you didn't... It wasn't necessarily that it was terrible. It just... Of
No.
the ones that you liked, it just didn't...
I
hit
would
you
never
the best.
hate on
All right,
them.
we're pulling it up.
That-
Okay,
It's like
Guru across the front. It kind of reminds me a little bit of like a hockey jersey.
Like a hockey T-shirt jersey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And being from Canada, it
being
probably
Canadian,
fits. I don't love it either. I'll be honest. I don't love it. I think I'm going to take it a step further. I think it's terrible.
It's plain. They've been rocking that for a while.
That is and so I can appreciate that, like dedication to the jersey.
multiple
That
years,
that
yeah.
I can appreciate that.
Ooh, I didn't know that.
Oh
They
yeah,
they
this is
stuck
like
with it?
yeah, this is their jersey.
I bet they're the same shirts.
Shit.
I
I like
bet
it
they're
more.
the same shirts.
I would bet too.
Yeah.
So
That's like
I
somebody,
got to give props there. Credit
Yeah.
where credit is due. Sticking with your jersey, that's
like somebody, bro, who like you go out with friends and they're wearing something that's kind of hideous, but they rock it, and then they like always wear it, and it's like their signature thing. You start to like it less.
Yeah.
You start to dislike it less and less.
Mm-hmm.
So the Prince, I apologize. I take it back. I like your commitment to the craft, although the craft is so-so.
It's plain.
It's plain.
It's plain.
I'll go second for this one. Pull this up for me if you could. My absolute worst jersey of the year, and I only saw it wore once, and I wish I saw it worn 0 times, was Bot House.
The new stuff.
It just was just so corny. It was just like all white. It looked like a chicken nugget or something on the front. It's just like a chicken eating at a Waffle House. I don't know. Just thought it was corny. And like they wear their Clemson gear all year, and the Clemson stuff's that purple on orange, and it's so like striking and looks so badass. And they like decimated people all season. And then like the championship, they come out with this like chicken waffle thing, and it was just like this is atrocious. And I really didn't like it. So I know it's not, you're not able to see it too well here.
There's not too many posts on it yet. Because they only wore it for the one.
Yeah.
You wonder why
There could be a reason.
they weren't flexing it so much. Look, they don't even post anything with it.
I think
those jerseys are cool.
I think what they did though is they kind of kept with this vibe though of the Clemson with like the colors streaking in. Because I'm pretty sure the Bot House had the white with the red orange streak in.
Yeah, it did.
Like that.
Right.
So I think they alluded to the Clemson jerseys like that.
Maybe so.
I kind of like the chicken spiking on the waffle as the net. It's kind of funny.
So lame.
I'm not opposed to it. I didn't really get a good look at their jerseys, but
I'm gonna say it's the worst jersey of all time.
Wow.
that's
Worst
a
jersey of all time.
Worst jersey of all time.
Yep.
that's come on.
You don't think that anything worse has ever been made?
No, not ever.
Interesting.
Not in round net.
Okay.
Maybe in other sports. But two outstanding players. So,
Very true.
it is what it is. It's just not my cup of tea.
Same goes for the Prince. Incredible players.
Yeah. Ballers. Maddie, you have the floor. 2023 worst jersey of the year.
So, mine might be a hot take, but I was really underwhelmed with the Hilltop jerseys this year.
Whoa! Really? You're wearing a Hilltop shirt.
I am because the Models, they're the boys. I love them, but they've had some fire jerseys in the past, like this. They're red with the yellow, with like the mountains in the background and the little logo, super clean.
Yep.
And then they did like a rebrand with a new logo and a new jersey design that did away from the mountains and the hard stripes and stuff, and it went more to like a fluid, acidy vibe to it. And I wasn't a huge fan of that. It's not Hilltop, and it's for having that reputation of Hilltop for years and years and years. It was like underwhelming to me. Like without the spikes and the harsh lines and the cool design. And I think they just did a big downgrade this year, personally. It's like, it's too basic maybe for them.
Yeah.
It's just not Hilltop. It's not Hilltop, and I don't necessarily like it.
It looks
I don't like it.
I think I'm with you, bro. It looks like they just tried to conform a little bit. Like they didn't stick to what like made them unique. They just like, let's just get a jersey. Tell whoever over at KBS to make it look a little funkier than we're usually like seeing. Add some Sonic-y lines. Let's rebrand the Hilltop logo and slap it in the middle.
I mean, yeah.
But they did have that Neuro gum. Did you try that gum?
I did.
That gum was pre-workout on steroids.
Was it?
I was in Long Island, and Max Gunneson, Max Modell was just like, "Yo, hey, try a piece of this gum." I was like, "All right." So I chewed a piece of it like before we played Constellation or whatever, or maybe before we played Pickup the next time, and I was like jittery, but I was kind of dialed in. But it was dangerous because I don't know if I should be taking in that much caffeine. Although there are really no side effects, and it's not bad for you.
Yeah, I'm like immune to like any caffeine at all.
Yeah,
so I just
cups of coffee a
tasted
day.
muted mint gum with not much side effects to it.
Really?
So I wasn't great on it, but like it was still gum. And my coworkers who I gave it to thought they loved it. They thought it was great.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I was just wondering if it was, like drinking too much Red Bull or something like that. You probably wouldn't want to do it every day. But again, that's me. I'm not 100% sure. But we're looking at some pictures here of the Hilltop kit.
The older
Matt
ones.
Said it. Matt said it, not me.
Yeah.
All right, category number 2. This is a very, very prestigious award here on the Spike Lemonade Pod. 2023 Most Dangerous Server. Max, you have the floor.
It's got to be Ryan Marino for me. probably a popular take, but I don't know. I feel like I saw some things this year from him that I don't know if I've seen from anyone else ever. Like, his ability to just turn it on was pretty unparalleled to me. And there's kind of no stopping him when he's on. Like, doesn't look like a fun time. So I would have to give that award to him.
I got nothing to say. I love it. I think that it's a great choice.
I mean,
what do you
It's
think?
hard to argue with.
I also
it.
have Ryan
like,
Marino.
It's hard to argue
After
with
seeing like a bunch of the best servers this year, I'd say.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Marino was the hardest to receive, me personally. But and just in general, seeing him wreck pros, like,
just
it's
makes people look foolish.
nothing.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Definitely, like, having everything in the bag and everything so good in the bag. Just that's all you need.
It's amazing. Like, it's got to be an awful feeling, like, holding against Ryan, only to know that the next server from that team is Thomas Hamilton. Like, that's got to be an awful feeling.
Yeah.
It's like all we gotta do is
Like,
hold
there's
Ryan.
no-
You just
Oh, yeah,
don't have
there's
it.
no
You
let
just don't get. Yeah, you
There's
just
no
don't have a
breaks.
break. Like,
Yeah. Full on go. Yeah, I hate to be that guy, but Ryan Marino is my server of the year, most dangerous server 2023.
It's unanimous.
Is it unanimous?
I didn't expect anything else. Honestly,
Yeah.
I didn't.
I'd be shocked. If
I would have been surprised if you guys said
something
something else.
The reason for me to build on what these guys said was I loved how unflappable he was in moments where they were
to him.
down and had like their backs against the wall. I forget what tournament it was, but it was the very windy tournament where they played Kingdom Come in the final. Do you remember that one? I forget what tournament that was.
Played Kingdom Come in the final of Nashville.
Bang.
There it
Yeah.
is.
Oh.
There it is.
Okay.
Nashville.
Not at Bang.
They didn't play. Oh, critical hit, man.
And I remember watching the first game and watching Grant go on a Grant-like run and them going down multiple breaks. I don't know the number for sure, but it was definitely 5 or more. And then I just remember Marino just locking in.
Yeah.
And then I remember multiple instances throughout the season where they'd be down 17-19 and bang, he'd just get it right back. They were down to critical hit in Philly. Boom, he just unlocks a new gear, and then now they're going to extras, and then they win. It was just like whenever the cards were stacked against that team, I think Thomas had a great season, but I don't think he was as consistently potent as Marino, and that's why I give Marino my server of the year, because I felt like when the cards were stacked against him, like when the moment was the biggest, he shined the brightest. So yeah, Marino all day for server of the year. It's a unanimous decision.
I think so.
Congratulations, Ryan Marino. You deserve it, my friend.
Big ups.
Big ups.
2023 server of the year on the women's side.
On the women's side, for me, it'd have to be Laura Kunzelman. Like, I don't think I've seen any women hitting as good reverse cuts as her. Like, she hit some really good reverse cuts, and maybe I'm biased seeing her a few more times than you guys probably did, but like in Europe, she can just shred teams. Like, it's really hard to receive her. She's got great variety too. Like, she hides her serves really well. Cut, reverse, drop, like she can do it all.
Have you played her?
Unfortunately, no. I would love to.
Yeah, I haven't either.
But it looks, just seeing the damage that she can do, and I think we saw it at the championship too. Like, she can just serve through some teams for sure.
She absolutely can.
Yeah.
I'll go next. I'll take this one. My 2023 most dangerous server on the women's side of the game, Laura Kunzelman.
Make that 3. Laura Kunzelman for or Laura.
Laura.
Kunzelman. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Yeah, I got nothing. She's
Dangerous.
unbelievable.
I've never seen a woman get as much spin and control on the ball. Basically, max perfectly.
Yeah,
And
did.
like, you've seen her more than any of us have.
Yeah.
In Europe and stuff. So
She can take over mixed games too.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
having that serve pressure in mixed is huge.
Yeah, that X factor. When it's usually like, it's not. I mean, it's no surprise to anybody. The mixed game oftentimes is which of the guy kind of gets the hottest and consistently can punish the woman player.
Yeah.
Did she have more serve pressure than Clark? Is that an
I don't know
argument?
about that.
Is that an
Maybe
argument to be made? though?
You could try and
A
make it, but
fractal a fractal statistic of who had more breaks this season, Clark or Laura, I bet you it's close.
It's probably closer
closer
than you
than
think.
people
because Clark
think,
is
but-
helping with defensive touches when she's landing.
I bet Clark put a lot on the second. I don't think Laura would put a lot on.
Yeah, I mean,
Maybe. Yeah,
you'd have to go through the footage, but
Yeah, just like a guess.
I think it's a
I'd love to hear.
closer gap
Yeah.
than maybe people would think.
Yeah, it's impressive
That would be-
nonetheless.
If Laura comes out on top of that, that'd be really cool to see.
I wouldn't be surprised. I
Yeah.
honestly wouldn't. So we have 2 unanimous votes for most dangerous server of the year on the men's and the women's side, and I'm actually really happy with that because I really thought that those 2 were dominant standouts this year, and I think there are other good answers, maybe like a Grant Clapp on the men's, maybe like a Vinny on the men's. My last year's vote was Blake. Blake had another great season serving. How about Ryder? Came in, played for like 6 minutes, and had I think like 14,
Took a picture home and that was it.
no-touch aces in like 11 minutes in Salt Lake City, and then went back to the golf course. So it's like there's a lot of great performances, but I'm very happy with our decisions. So here we go. I'm very excited to see where you both go with this because I'd consider you both ultimate defenders in this game. People who value defense, value the importance of a touch,
Thank you.
a hold versus a break. So, who is your 2023 men's ultimate defender?
For me, it's Clark Marshall.
Really?
Yes,
All right.
So we have some dogs in the background, but
we do.
but they're
We
gonna
got
quiet
guests
up in a
in a
we'll,
second.
we'll,
Yeah.
I'll ask
why
it
not
again.
just roll with it?
You
We
wanna-
could. I mean,
Let's
it's
just keep it raw.
listen. The Spike Lemonade podcast. If it's
It's,
nothing if not authentic.
Yes,
Literally.
it is authentic.
So-
It is
So
authentic.
Clark Marshall.
So tell us about Clark Marshall and why.
I mean, it's just so hard to hit around him. It seems like if he's on the net, if he's off the net, it doesn't matter. It doesn't seem like there's much getting over him. I've never played him personally, so I don't fully know, but just watching him play, he's so good with his hands and he covers up so much space, and it always seems like he knows where the ball's going, and that's something that I think sets him apart. Is he's very reactive, obviously, but it just seems like he can telegraph things ahead of time on just what's going to happen, what kind of shot's going to happen. Yeah, not only where the ball's going, but how the hitter's going to hit it before it even happens.
I think playing the game for that long just like
Yeah.
will definitely help that. Like just being able to read. I was talking to Brendan Ferrer about it. Like he's been in the game for a while.
Yeah.
And him on defense is just, he told me it comes like second nature. After
Yeah.
playing for so darn long, it's just like you kind of know where to be when this person sets up like this. And it's just like muscle memory at that point. You don't even think about it. It's just what it is. So I bet that's what it is. Being strong defensive for so long, just getting even better and better at it. It's just,
And he knows where the set is going to go, like based on the setter's footwork, how they're approaching the ball. He knows how it's going to come off their hand, like how much loft the set is going to have, if it's going to be more of a line drive, directional. Like, it just seems like he knows what's happening before it happens.
You care if I go next?
go.
So, I think that's a very, very. We're not on here to sugarcoat things. I'm not a big fan of your answer.
Fair enough.
Reason being, I don't even think he's the best defender on his team, let alone the world.
That's a take.
My defender of the year goes to Matt Cole. I think Matt Cole shined defensively, got touches, anticipated hits, and converted at such a high level, running off the net to get first touch to back in, and a touch 30 feet off the net converted is worth the same amount of points as a beautiful body up or a beautiful hand touch that's converted. The kid in the championship was unbelievable. Everyone is saying that Grant Clapp did what Grant does, but Grant Clapp is not winning on that Saturday without Matt Cole. He's just not. Matt Cole was unbelievable that day defensively. And also, I would factor in serve receive as a defensive statistic. If I had to
Interesting.
categorize it, I don't know that I'd say serve receive equals defense, but I think serve receive is more of a defensive ability than it is an offensive ability.
Mm-hmm.
And so with that, I think he's one of the very best at that too. And that showed for me at the championship all the way through to the finals against two dominant servers, the semifinals against Judgment Day, having to deal with the guys we just talked about,
Yeah.
Ryan Marino and Thomas Hamilton. And he serve received them so well. My vote is Matt Cole, 2023 Ultimate Defender.
So I don't want to get reamed for my pick, but I was going between Matt Cole and this person, and the only reason I went with this person is because of the overall year consistency versus just doing well at one or two like podium at one or two tournaments kind of thing. And I actually picked Raul. I know,
A little bit
of a dark horse. But I went through today and I was watching a bunch of clips and just going into it. And yeah, listen to me.
I'm sorry.
I didn't laugh at your answer. Huh?
I need Max in the pod to keep me straight. He's right.
So what I saw today is I was going through a bunch of old clips, and when I was looking back at like bad combo and then their games and playing super, super well, Raul is very good on the net on defense. I think for being such a little boy, for being such a... I'm sorry. That didn't mean to come out. I'm sorry. For being a smaller man, he covers a lot of space, and he reads the ball super well off the net. And from playing him, too, he got a lot of touches when we played him. Like, he can read the ball super well, and he gets good touches, too. Like, and they converted a lot of those touches, and good enough to get third at the championship, take down Rogan, Columbus, like... that team is not a team you can just look over. Like I just thought Raul really impressed me as a defensive player, because I really couldn't think of anybody else that was like overall impressive all around. Whereas I thought Raul played all around great defense all year. That's what I think. I think it was a very offensive heavy year though.
You got the floor. I'd love for you to react to that.
I don't think that that's at all a bad take. I don't think that your take is at all bad either. I think I sort of gravitate towards players like styles that I like. So I probably said Clark just more because subconsciously, like that's the kind of defense I like to play and how I like to.
That's fair.
Like if I could emulate someone's game, like that's sort of how I think about it. But I do not think that saying Rahul is a bad answer at all. I think that's very fair. If you ever watch any double clutch game footage, you see their strategy is pretty obvious. Mm-hmm. Rahul getting touches at the net, Fred tracking deep balls. Like, I think, and it worked pretty well given their results.
It's similar with bad combo. Raul was on the net a lot, and he got a lot of touches for Will to track down.
And you saw Will running
really
down
cool
lots
sets,
of stuff.
Yeah. I mean, it works.
Rahul, another thing is his center of gravity is so much lower. He's harder to tool. So, like, if you hit it into him, there's not really any bad spots like to hit it into.
Probably gonna go up.
It's probably gonna hit where he wants it to. Like with taller players, I feel like I can hit sort of just into their knees or something like that. That's a shot that I like to do a lot. Mm-hmm. So you can't really do that against Rahul.
That's true. That's a good point too. Yeah, that's true.
You can't really beat him low. You can't really beat him low.
You can't beat him low. I mean, you're hitting into him. Him crouch is probably definitely thighs and up.
Yeah.
Him in a defensive athletic position. It's a little bit of a sleeper pick.
Yeah, I mean,
I would say yours is also.
Yeah,
a bit of a sleeper pick.
I don't think Matt Cole did anything really, really
crazy. I think it's a fair pick, but I don't think that.
You don't think it would be the sexy pick? You don't think it would be common? If we polled 100 people, how many people would say Matt Cole? 100 premier players.
100 premier players, I would say
35?
I would say
less.
lower.
Really?
Like 20 or less.
I'd go. Number that came to my head, 22.
Out of 100.
Yeah.
So you know what we have to do now? We need to put the three of our defenders in a poll.
Yeah, we'll do that
on the pod.
Well,
but I know that's not the same.
Okay.
Or you want me to?
No, as long as you know
Yes.
that.
No, we should do it. We should do it like we should do.
Max's major coming out.
We should do Defender of the Year. Like, who do you guys think was the Defender of the Year? And
Let people type it in themselves.
Okay. Just let people type it in themselves.
I personally think that
when you give people options, that it's a whole different.
Yeah,
it is different. But no, that's true. That is the argument.
If you listed those three options, I think my prediction would be people would choose Clark more than
I think so
than the
either
other
of
two.
those. Yeah.
Not that that's
I think so.
necessarily right or wrong, but I think that people
just know him more.
I think
it's
people,
like, defense Clark.
Right.
I don't think that Rahul and Matt Cole are thought of as defensive players in the light that Clark is.
Yeah.
They're both great defensive players, and like it shows if you ever watch them play. But I think just more people are just aware, I think.
Yeah.
It's less obvious, put it that way.
Yeah.
Honorable mentions, I would say.
Go
I'm
ahead.
gonna go into it.
There could be a lot.
Do
of
some,
stuff.
Yeah, I
for
think,
sure.
but like the two I think favorites that we'd probably hear Clark, we'd probably hear Ryan Marino, and we'd probably hear Gabe for defensive players this year. I would say all three of those. Looking back at my doing a lot of footage watching today, all three of those made insanely amazing plays defensively as well, just as well as offensively.
Okay, let's go on the 100. Let's go on the 100 scale of 100 premier players. You asked them defender of the year. I think Gabe's getting like 4 votes.
I don't think so.
4 out of 100.
I think Gabe just got as many touches as he got aces.
I don't think so.
Really?
I don't.
Gabe is.
I'm not saying he's not good, but
No, I know that, but
defender of the year, I don't know that he's jumping into anybody's mind.
I think it's a similar situation
I think it's-
with Rahul and Matt Cole. You see
Yeah.
Gabe's serves, you see Gabe's hitting, you see
just-
everything else about Gabe that's
you don't
so
really pay
good.
attention to the defense.
But then you don't think about it, even though he's an awesome defender. He's
Oh, yeah,
really
he-
good on defense.
he gets a million touches.
Oh no, he's excellent, but
You're going a little.
I think he
you're
gets
going a
more.
little too far.
I think he gets more
You
votes
just-
than Matt Cole.
but you don't think about
He
it.
get more votes than Matt Cole.
I think so.
I bet you Mo's the next time we record.
Okay,
That's
we're gonna put
that's
this
some
poll up
dog-
before we
that's some
release
dog
the pod, though.
shit.
So we're putting the poll up like tonight.
More
I'll put the poll up right
than
now.
Cole.
Right now, I'll do it because I'm having it up to you.
You know what
Here
I'd
with
like?
you.
You know what I'd like for you to do?
Yeah.
I want you to call Gabe, put him on speakerphone, and ask him if he thinks he's a better defender than Matt Cole. Let's just do it like that. We trust his opinion.
Call Gabe Pernacki.
Let's do that.
And then afterwards, call Matt Cole.
I don't have his number.
If he answers.
That's a little late.
Is it?
No. He always says my last name wrong.
Make sure you tell him. Make sure you set the stage. Tell him he's on the pod.
That's all after.
Don't know. He says some goofy stuff. What time is it?
We can always cut
Or
this
is it-
out.
Yeah, we can definitely cut this out. But we're currently dialing in to Mr. Funaki. Also,
I'm worried. he's
this
not
is
answering.
this is another little tidbit here.
Believe it or not, Gabe isn't at home. Please leave a message at the beep. I must be up or take up the sum. Where could I be? Believe
It's a
it
good-
or not,
it's a good
I'm
voice.
not home.
Leave a comment if you know where that voice message comes from. It's a reference to something. If you know it, leave a comment. That's a little Easter egg.
Surprised he knows it.
Oh, I'm a big fan. But yeah, Gabe didn't answer. But we will do a poll tonight after we're done recording. I'll throw it up on the Instagram.
Yep.
And
Could you do me a favor?
Yeah.
We're gonna keep flowing here, and we won't stop. Do you have Matt Cole's phone number?
yeah,
Don't call him, but could you just shoot him a text and say, "Hey, we're recording SLP end of year awards, and was wondering if we could give you a quick ring to ask you a question, live on the pod." While we're going through
Is
that,
this a first on
First
Spark Lemonade
ever.
podcast?
but
We'll call in.
but can I tell you this?
Yeah.
It is something we've been talking about.
Yeah.
Doing more calling.
you watched the Donut Pod.
Mm-hmm.
You heard us
I-
talking about it.
Yeah, we want to do more.
I support
call-ins.
the idea.
It's kind of fun.
Yeah.
It's kind of fun, and it's like it's not like bringing someone in on Zoom. It's kind of just like more like it's here, so we don't have to throw up like another screen.
Yeah.
But I digress. Let's continue. Ultimate 2023 Ultimate Defender on the girls' side, and I'm going to take this one first.
Okay.
You know who really impressed me, and I really only saw them play because I'm not as invested into the women's scene, but I do like the co-ed scene. I guess I watched some of the women's scene. I shouldn't say that, but I loved Sarah Allen. I thought her defending, her knee looked to be bothering her the co-ed night with Gabe, but she still was serve receiving against, I don't want to get this wrong, Allie, correct?
With who?
No.
Depends.
Olivia.
When they played both.
Olivia.
They
no,
played
no,
both.
in the finals. Olivia.
Olivia.
And Will. She was serve receiving both of them so well, diving all over the place, recovery sets. She and Gabe body touches together. That sounded weird. They were getting touches. Goodness. Sarah Allen, my 2023 Women's Defender of the Year. You guys have the floor.
Max, go ahead.
My women's defender of the year, probably for me, I would say Kayla Wu. That would be my pick. I think someone who kind of flies under the radar a little bit.
That's a great pick.
But every game that I've seen from her, which granted, not that many, but I've seen her play a lot of really good body defense, sort of the similar style to Rahul. Like, being shorter, she can't really beat her low. So I see her get lots of good hands, lots of good touches at the net. I think her and Kara were a really good, like, defensive team, like, as far as chemistry goes and as far as archetypes go. I think that they mesh really well defensively. So yeah, Kayla Wu would be my pick.
That's a fair pick.
I really like that pick too. Go ahead.
Watching 2K is fun.
Yeah,
Big rally team.
for sure.
I went with more mainstream. I think Olivia was just outstanding overall throughout the whole year, getting a lot of cool touches and playing super solid defense the whole year. Just food for thought.
Yeah.
I think nothing crazy about that pick. I feel like that's pretty mainstream.
So we have an Olivia, basically just her consistency and just dominating the game.
Getting fantastic touches.
Yeah.
We have Kayla Wu. She does play a very similar style to Raul. She's gritty. You know Joelle, too.
Yeah.
Joelle kind of plays like that, too. She's low. She gets body touches. She's a really solid defender. And then my vote, Sarah Allen. She's just gritty.
Great pick. Great
Yeah,
pick.
she just she's never out of a play. I really only saw her the second half of the season, so maybe July on, so it only 3 or 4 tournaments. But I was really impressed with her and her play. Just know she's a bulletproof player in the girls' game. So those are our ultimate defenders. We're going to category 4, 2023. Who has the ultimate clutch gene in 2023? Matt, you haven't gone first yet. It's yours.
So, I think coming down to clutch, you'd think of a person who can really come in towards the end of the game, string those breaks together throughout the game, and just dominate where it counts. When you need it, this guy's there for you. Gabriel Fanaki is that guy for me. I've just never seen someone consistently throughout the year string together as many breaks when he needs to as Gabe. Maybe a little bit biased from just playing so much with him, but he always, even in the tour series, you see him string together these breaks all the time.
Oh yeah,
hitting the championship. I mean, coming down from, was it 16? It's 16-20.
yeah. In the co-ed champ.
Yeah,
Co-ed,
what? He does that pretty, maybe not that late in the game, but he gets strings of breaks like that and goes on runs like that often. He'll get that fire in him and he'll go.
Yeah.
So that's my clutch gene player.
Player of the year, 2023. I'm gonna go here. I'm actually gonna go a different direction. For me, Gabe may have a better clutch gene over the course of a year than my pick, but my player showed a clutch gene when everything was on the line, and he had one of the craziest days I've ever seen in a day.
So clutch gene of the championship is the word, I guess, right?
But is the clutch gene dominating the regular season, or is the clutch gene
Is it
killing
award of
it
the
in the
year
moment?
or is it award of the tournament?
But some people view the playoffs as you show up in the playoffs, this is when it counts. The rest of the season was building to this moment. My reward is for Grant Clapwick, who showed up and showed his clutch gene although it was just the one day's performance. Not that he didn't have clutch moments over the course of the season, but when everything was on the table, he showed up and he showed out, and no one got anywhere near serve receiving him well the whole day. So yeah, mine is Grant Clapp.
I think that's fair.
It doesn't get more clutch than the championship, right?
That's true.
The championship is clutch time, is it not? So very, very solid pick. Starting to sound like a broken record, but my clutch gene award is going to go to Ryan Marino again. I hate to give repeats, and I know what you're going to say. Championship they didn't perform as well as they would have liked. A bit of a letdown with a T5, but to be fair, I think that there's merit to your answer and to Matt's answer being clutch throughout the season and clutch at the championship. I think they're both important. They both sort of have their place. Throughout the season, I saw a lot of Ryan Marino not only like ripping teams apart the whole day, but when it counted, I think he came on strong. He came on strong. You mentioned against Critical Hit in Philly, which is very true. They were down, I believe, in game 2, and he was very clutch in that game. Something you didn't mention though, which adds to him, was the finals in Bang.
That's what I was going to say.
They were down game 3.
2 breaks.
Might have been a few breaks late, like down 17-19, and he got 4 or 5 breaks in a row to
seal
seal game 3.
I remember watching that.
Backs against the wall, and doesn't really get much more clutch than that. And really, it feels like he's doing this every weekend.
Yeah.
Apart from the championship, which is fair. Definitely, you want to be clutch on that day more than others. But
right.
I think my clutch gene would go to him. I felt like he was the most consistent server the whole year.
Consistent.
On,
I think so.
I think
as far as
that's fair.
With regards to the entire year.
I think consistent
from start to
player
finish.
from the entire year.
Could be that
Probably
too.
make that argument, yeah.
It could be that too.
And I think consistency is key, especially in crunch time.
No,
Like,
Keenan is key.
well, that's also true.
We went over
That's
that.
also true.
That's hilarious.
There may be 2 keys, but
That's true.
Yeah.
2 things could be key. Clutch gene on the women's side. I'd like to take this one first. Clutch gene on the women's side for me. I don't know, actually. I don't know where you guys are going with this. I thought about this thing for all of about 4 seconds, and I was just like, that's my answer. Is both of the twins. I'll give it to them both. It's a tie. Reason being, they showed up this season. They 3-peated, which if you watch anything in sports anywhere, 3-peating is damn near impossible, no matter what the sport is. It could be ping pong. Doesn't matter.
Table tennis.
Table tennis. Either one. Pool. Anything.
billiards.
There you go.
He is.
So, 2, they showed up to Salt Lake City and had a lot of pressure on them with K2 coming in and putting together this performance and then kind of taking them down, them having to stand on the number 2 spot at the podium and look up at them. That was probably weird for them. And then they showed up the rest of the year, ultimately finding themselves at the championship in Philadelphia, playing solid throughout the day, taking down that team you mentioned, which is 2K.
Mm-hmm.
That was a really tough match. Those girls played
Absolutely.
really, really well.
Absolutely.
Now they see themselves in the finals. Everyone's there. They're in another moment like Salt Lake City. And who are they looking down the barrel at? The gunslinger herself, Laura Kunzelman, staring at them, wanting to fucking rain on their parade again. And you know what they had to do? They had to buckle up. It was a hard series. None of the games were easy. And take them down. And I thought that it showed a lot of guts because they were obviously expected to win. But here comes Laura Kunzelman. No pressure on her. I'm just here to upset this party. Obviously, she wants to win, right? But she knew if she lost, everyone would probably say the Twins were favored to win. I don't know. Maybe she doesn't think like that. Who cares? But she was the underdog for sure going into that matchup. And they show up. They don't let her play spoiler to their 3-peat. That is the definition of clutch for me. That's why they both get the award. Congratulations, they deserve it.
I mean, I didn't come up with a women's player. I couldn't think of any one women's player that really clutched up. I feel like everybody in the women's team just played super well the whole year and just played their game. Nothing really stood out to me. Where it was a consistent clutch player of the year all year. So, yeah.
Floor is yours. Do you have anything?
I would agree with your pick. I think the Twins were definitely pushed more this year than they have been before, and they rose to the occasion. And yeah, 3-peat it's
hard.
It's very hard, almost unheard of. So
are you saying you're with me?
I think I'm gonna ride with you there,
Dude.
I'm probably more with you than against you, for sure.
Let's make it unanimous. Let's
do
make
it.
it the
Yeah,
Twins.
Twins.
Twins. Unanimous vote for the Twins. Congratulations, you deserve it.
Matt Cole texted me back. We can give him a call.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah. So
You want me to be the speaker?
you can. I'll pass the phone over to you once he answers. Because if he answers and he just Not my voice.
Okay. Yeah, you call him.
Hey,
Hey, Matt, what's good?
what's up, Matt?
So we are here on Spiked Lemonade right now, and
Nice.
what we got is a debate. And I'm going to pass
Okay.
the phone over to Josh for you for a second.
Hey, Matt, how are you? Josh here.
Hey, Josh. Good, man. How are you?
I'm doing well. First off, I didn't get the chance to congratulate you. Congratulations on an unbelievable performance on Championship Saturday.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. Yeah, it was real fun.
Yeah, it was awesome. Okay, so listen, we're doing our end of year awards this evening. We're recording the podcast, and I gave you the award this year for 2023 Defensive Player of the Year, and I think you deserve it. You earned it.
Wow.
You did an unbelievable job this year. That's not why we're calling, but
That's still exciting.
yeah, it's that's kind of why we're calling.
You won.
Yeah, Matty Spo, he answered for his Defensive Player of the Year as our pal Gabriel Finocchi, who
Nope.
you did-
Defensive player of the year?
No.
Who did you
said
say?
Rahul.
Oh, he said.
But
I'm
you had
sorry.
a
I'm
separate
sorry.
debate.
I did say
There was a separate.
I thought
Okay.
Gabe was-
Okay. I'm getting there.
Okay.
He answered with Rahul, but ultimately we got into a debate, and I need your answer on this, and you're involved in this. If we polled
Okay.
100 random Premier players, and they were asked, who's a better defender, Matt Cole or Gabe Finocchi, and you're taking yourself out of this, you're being unbiased, do you think more people out of those random 100 would answer you or would answer Gabe? And we tried to call him on this too, to be fair, so we're giving both of you a fair shake.
Yeah, I definitely think out of the 100, they would answer Gabe. I feel like he's probably got a more consistent track record and is more like across the board well regarded. That'd be my perception.
Awesome. Well, you've proven Matt correct. I'm deeply saddened by your answer, but I appreciate your honesty.
Of course.
Yeah, dude. But listen, I appreciate you letting us give you a ring and hopping on. Again, it was awesome seeing your run at the championship, and I hope to have you on the podcast one time soon here. You know, when we can be in the same place.
Thanks, boys. Yeah, appreciate the call. Good luck with the rest of the recording, and thanks for having me on.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, man. Hopefully we'll have you on in a better way, like in real life, soon.
A real way.
Yeah.
I got you.
Thank you, Matt.
Absolutely. Y'all be going. Bye.
Yeah, you
care.
too.
Damn.
You seem surprised by that answer.
I'm floored by that answer.
I told you.
Did you expect him to say that he regards himself, or that he would think that more people would pick him?
I thought so.
Yep.
Interesting.
I thought I feel like, I mean, we just had him on the freaking phone, but I feel like if you asked him what part of his game he values like in the highest regard, I don't think he'd say the serving. You think he would say setting?
I think so.
I don't.
Wow. Holding. Serve receive.
Yeah, I would say serve receive.
Yeah,
personally,
serve receive.
is what I think he would say.
Yeah.
Not trying to.
If only we had him on the phone.
No.
It's late.
That was really cool of him.
Why don't you bring him back up?
No. Matt, if you ultimately watch this here, this is like call inception. But now I'm talking to you here. Thanks a lot, bro, for coming on and doing that for us. I respect your opinion. You're obviously a hell of a lot better at this game than me, but I think you're wrong on this one. I think people would say him. I really do. But we're gonna put it up.
There's one way to find out.
There is one way to find out. Maybe he's right. I mean,
By the time this goes up, there will be an answer on the SLP page.
Yeah.
So, who they think is a more better defender?
Fair
It's
enough.
not English, but yeah, it works.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, let's keep it moving. That was actually really fun.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that. I think we're gonna have to get people more call-y because that
A
was
whole
fun.
episode of just call
Just straight calls.
I think that'd be sick.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
Okay, Max, you got the floor here for me if you could.
Mm-hmm.
2023 Breakout Player of the Year. Who is it? On the men's side.
Who is it?
on the men's
Come on.
side.
Tell me.
For me, my breakout player of the year is Paul Ziemer from Eisenträger Ziemer, which is probably maybe not the route that a lot of people will go down, but I think he was on very few people's radars coming into this year. I don't think anybody really at least outside of Europe, I don't think anybody expected them to have the season that they had. And seeing him play in person, like, he is as legit as they come. Like, he has it all. He has it all down, super consistent in all facets of his game. And I think he's a great player. And I don't think that a lot of people saw this season coming from them. I don't think that they saw, maybe players in Europe saw it more than maybe we did, but he wasn't really on my radar very much coming into this year. So, and I mean, he tore it up. He had an insane season. They won multiple tournaments. They dominated Europe. They won every tournament that they played in Europe. They won, except for Toulouse, but every other one. They got first place. Yeah, European Championship, every tour stop, even a few other tournaments like in between that weren't like ETS tour stops, but
they crushed it.
Yeah,
that is such a good answer.
And only dropping a few games, like they winning most series in 2. Like, yeah, pretty much, pretty much. They were the rogue of Europe.
Yeah, that's sick, actually.
So
yeah, I actually heard, and I don't know where I heard this, but it was on a podcast, so maybe that run that podcast. But I remember people saying that when they see that they were signed up, they would just not go. Like in Europe, like it got to that point where it was like, wow. Okay, like the guys that were going there to kind of make the trek to actually make the money to go and show up and maybe win would be like, all right, they're there.
The winners have signed
up. They've got it. Yeah, they're there. So now maybe we fight for second or third. That's an unbelievable answer, dude. And I'll be honest, he didn't even cross my mind.
I didn't think about it.
That's how it works. Below the radar he is.
Yeah, that's how American we are.
Yeah,
you were in Europe, so
that's true. So you get more of a deep dive. Breakout player of the year for me. I was troubled on this because I just didn't know which direction to go, but I ultimately went Kieran Rose. I felt like last year he was sort of coming of age for him, and then this year, ultimately him making the pro division and dominating tournament after tournament, a couple second place finishes.
With different partners.
Yeah, he was. Yep. Well, one different partner.
Well, right? He came in second at a tour stop with Justin, second at a tour stop with Pac.
True.
It's 2 partners. I think that's plural.
That is multiples.
English.
That's my answer. Kieran Rose.
I'm in the same boat as you. I also put down Kieran Rose just because, like, people knew him last year, but I don't think anybody last year would say, oh, yeah, he's going to be one of the most talked about people for the next year. And now, like, look, he's pretty talked about. He's well known, pro division. People look forward to playing him and seeing him and stuff like that. So,
or they don't.
Goes either way. Yeah. But yeah, he was definitely exceeded expectations this year, and that's breakouty of him.
I think Justin did too.
I was so close to putting Justin over Kieran, but I don't know. It's just when I'm on the field and I look for Justin, I just can't see him because he's just like.
Can I peel back the curtain and give you an interesting story about those two? Not more so Kieran, but about Justin. Kieran was obviously pretty dialed in, and I had made my way over on Championship Saturday. It was like maybe 3/4 of the way through pool play, and I had seen the tail end of a game. And like, Kieran's kind of matter of fact, but it was weird. I saw Justin made a couple really solid plays, and now Kieran came off after the game. We're there. I think they have one more series to play, and I go, dude, Justin's playing really good. And he looks over at me, and it was weird. And it wasn't like this, like, it wasn't like a friendly way that he said it. He said it kind of like matter of fact and kind of like snippy. And he's my buddy, so I know he didn't mean anything by it. He's just focused. But I say to him, dude, Justin's like playing really good. He goes, he is good. Like that. I was just like, whoa, relax. I know. I'm just saying it. So, but that kind of give you that mantra where I feel like Justin was oftentimes the 1A to Kieran's 1. You know what I'm saying? Kieran was the, you know what I mean, the lead, or at least that's the way it was perceived by other players. What do you think?
He deserves a lot of the credit for that season that they had. Like, he was super solid all year long.
I've heard a lot of people say that he was the better half of Profit Boost, like just more consistently better. Whereas Kieran would have hots and colds. I think Justin was more consistently there. And the only reason I didn't put him down as breakout is just because I don't think he went to as much, and people still wouldn't know his name as much. So that's not break out in terms of like getting your name out there. But like,
Interesting.
I think as a player, Justin is just as good, if not arguably better than Kieran is. And like,
Do you think though that has something to do with Kieran's social media presence? Like, is he the breakout player for you? Because, and look, I voted for him, but like, is that because he made highlight videos and we saw him online and him doing all these things, and
It could
as
be.
opposed to Justin looks like he just never posts anything?
well, it
and
could
he's
be,
just more
but
of, like, the
Justin's
silent
in almost
party?
every single one of those videos that
Yeah,
Kieran
that's
posts.
true. No, that's true.
You know,
That's true.
I think it's got a height thing to do with it.
Yeah.
It has a
Yeah,
hype.
I think
it could have a hype element.
Just because Kieran's twice the size of Justin, Justin gets
Oh, you
over
said height? I thought you said hype.
No, height. Because Justin gets overlooked, literally.
He's still going.
You're
on
really,
the-
you're really beating this thing into the ground.
I hope Justin listens to
Dude,
this.
is there
Yeah,
is there a
something going
problem?
on?
Yeah.
There's an ongoing
There's some-
joke between me and Justin.
This seems more
Yeah,
less of a
this is
joke.
personal.
more-
Yeah.
yeah.
This is really
No,
grinding.
I hope Justin looks at this, but like, we've gotten close this year, so we've like been able to do
Dude,
that.
Seems like
Back
you're trying
and
to burn
forth.
that bridge.
Yeah.
For sure.
No, it's super funny. I really hope he sees this. I really do.
Okay, so
All love for Justin.
we have
Great guy.
breakout. No, I don't love Justin. He messed me up one time on an Instagram poll, and I'll never forget.
You're still on that. huh?
Yeah, I'll
on
never
that.
forgive him.
That's-
An elephant doesn't forget. Okay, 2023 breakout player of the year on the women's side. I'm gonna go first if I could. This answer is probably way wrong, but it's just because I don't know the women's side as much. So for me, the first time I'd ever seen this player play was the women's championship, and it was the 2K. It was not Kayla. It was Kara Hoy. I've never seen her play before
Okay.
in person. Maybe just because I wasn't paying attention, or I wasn't like, wait, did I see? Maybe I've seen her play a couple times, but I wasn't like dialed in. Her serving, I like the word you used earlier. She was a thumper.
Thumper.
She
got some
hits,
thumps,
she
yeah.
cracks, and I was just like, oh my god! Like, I was really impressed with her. So, is she really breakouty? No, because she's been around. But for me, I didn't realize that what she was capable of and what kind of player she was until the championship. So for me, it kind of was a little breakouty for me. So I'm gonna go Kara Hoy.
I would disagree. I don't think she's very breakouty in the slightest.
She's been around for a while.
I think she had a
Yeah.
better season last year, or just as good. I think they finished up in the same place in the championship last year, right?
They got fourth last year.
Yeah. And what they get this year?
It's good to have
Third.
Max on.
They did get there this year.
Yeah.
Okay. So like,
She got fourth the year before too.
So she's not
With
breakouty at
Ali
all.
Foster. Yeah. No, I mean, breakout to you,
yeah.
which
Yeah,
I guess your breakout player of the year is Kara Hoy.
yeah.
Maybe not the breakout player of the year, but yours.
That's fair. That's a
So,
fair. Talk to me.
I think she was
So-
more hyped last year. Last year was kind of like, wow, Kara was like, especially like with Pinto and stuff like that. Like she was really hyped last year. I think last year was like more her year than this year was. But I don't know.
I do think you're a little late to the party on
Yeah,
that.
probably
but,
so. I
but-
just haven't followed
but,
it at all.
Well, I mean, but I mean, I understand if you haven't seen her play much. Obviously, we don't get to see her play at like local tournaments. Obviously, living on the other side of the country.
Yeah.
So, I think it's fair for your personal breakout player
Yeah.
of the year. Obviously, she's been around. But
yeah.
I mean, also
That's
it's
okay.
it's
It's fine.
a
Yeah.
bad. It's obviously a bad answer, and people are going to be like, oh,
It's an
that
honest answer.
sucks.
It is.
It's an
But think
honest
about this
answer.
too. The game in the United States is not growing, so it's just like, who broke out onto the scene this year that wasn't playing last year?
Just wait till Max's answer.
All right, Max, floor's yours.
You really hyped me up there.
I'm hyping you
Jeez.
up. You better have a good
You
one.
really gassed me up there. My breakout player of the year on the women's side is Danny Kodletz from Tiramisu, the Austrian team.
Yes.
And I think if you haven't seen much of Kara Hoy, you probably haven't seen much of them.
That's fair.
Um,
That's fair.
So this may not mean as much, but seeing her in the European scene, and also like obviously I was there, but I try to follow it as much as I can, like the scene. I try and watch like Tops Around Net does an awesome job with the streams. They stream a ton, so I try and watch as much of those games as I can, even the women's games, because I think they're super entertaining, and it's just refreshing seeing like new faces. I remember like playing in Europe was awesome, just to play new people and also to not see the same like, oh, assistive touches in the finals again, or like Gabe is in the finals again. Like it's just good to see new people. So, but for me, I think that her and Tiramisu as a team, I think they for sure turned some heads this year. I don't think that a lot of people knew quite how good they were. I think they were relatively well known. Because I think people did, like, I knew about them last year. I think a lot of people did know about them as sort of like Europe's team almost. But they put together some really impressive results. Got 4th at the championship, which is
They won the European Championship, right?
They won the European Championship.
Damn.
And they got first place in Vienna, the ETS Vienna, which was the last ETS of the year. Played super solid all year against Towerful, just
Towerful,
Laura and Ronja, beating Towerful in the championship, and taking them to 3 in Toulouse and Prague as well, I think. So, she had a year for sure. I don't know how much you guys watched, but she was hitting some crazy serves. They were playing super well. So, yeah, Danny's my breakout player of the year.
It's great.
Yeah. I put this person down only because I had no idea. I've never seen, heard, or knew this person existed until halfway through this year, and that's Katie's partner Lawrence.
Ooh,
Literally came out
good
of
pick.
Yeah,
nowhere.
that's a very good pick.
Kind of, yeah.
They did
pretty well.
They played well. They won some tournaments and
Very good results.
yeah, especially for a half a year partner like this. Literally, Lawrence came out of
Women's pro, yeah,
nowhere.
just like that.
yeah.
She
So,
played well together.
Some
They played
impressive co-ed results too.
with
Her and
Lawrence.
her and Max Prince.
I was
They
gonna
played-
say
They played mixed a couple times.
I was gonna do an honorable mention for Max for breakout player of the year because I remember a bunch of people coming up to me after co-ed saying, "Wow, this Max kid is crazy."
He can play.
Yeah,
He can play
is
for sure.
And like he's now like people are recognizing him more often too. Yeah.
So yeah, they played.
Max
They were.
Prince.
They
He's
were.
one of the Prince.
Prince.
They were
Maxi.
really close to making co-ed pro. I want to say they were
They were-
9th team.
I knew
maybe.
they were close. Yeah.
They were really close to making co-ed pro. If they needed one slightly better result.
Yeah.
I think they were very right on the cusp.
That was some solid answers.
So it's a very good take. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a very good, and it's like 3 different answers from 3 very different perspectives too, and an honest
very
opinion
different
of,
perspective.
You
yeah,
could
of
say that.
not knowing,
That's- you could say
of
that.
a little bit of ignorance of the game, but wanting to be more knowledgeable and follow it more closely next year, and I think we definitely will.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, the women's game's fun, man. It's fun. Okay, here we go. We're going now just to single awards. We're going to go 2023 Content Creator of the Year. I'll take the first one. I'm going to actually go with Mr. Scott Beeks. I think he's done a good job, a great job for a long time. But this year he offered a lot of levels of content from the podcast to the coaching, to his Instagram, sometimes behind a paywall with some of this stuff. But he's got a ton of talents. I think he's very dynamic. He's easy to listen to. I just think he does a very, very solid job. He's necessary for the community, and I don't know. I don't think he misses all that often. I mean, we don't necessarily agree on every take, but again, that's life. We haven't agreed on all our takes here. That doesn't mean anything.
I wouldn't want us to.
Yeah.
Personally.
What fun is that?
I mean, exactly.
What does that mean? So, but I think you do, Scott. I think you do a fantastic job, and you're my 2023 Content Creator of the Year. Let's go, Maddie. You're up. Second.
Okay, so I was tossing and turning between these two people, or one person in one group.
Okay.
But I think overall I'm gonna go with Mr. Connor Prelick.
He did a good job too.
Especially towards the end of the year, like these past couple months, he's been really crushing the more informational, trying to appeal to like the newer players. Like, do you know what this is? And like, it's working. He's getting millions of views on his soft touch videos and just all these different serving videos, but also still including the fun videos in there, like trendy stuff that's going on TikTok, including it into round net. And I just think he's doing a great job of producing consistent content. And it's
Consistent. I see what you did there.
yeah, totally on purpose. But consistent content for a while now. He's like been loving doing it, and he's just been doing it so well consistently. So
I
I
have no
think-
problem with that. I think it's a great pick.
Great picks from both of you. I would say Scott Peak's probably the most like professional looking content.
Definitely.
I'm a big fan of how he like lays things out and just how he makes it look. I think it's really good. I'm a big fan of his like recaps. I like when he talks about the games. I don't know if you ever watch his highlight videos. They show highlight videos, but it's also like this next game against whoever.
So yeah, that's
and like
true.
and like a few details about who they're playing, either where they're from or what
Like
he's
a
thinking
voiceover,
about.
like a
yeah,
voiceover.
what he's thinking about going into those games. I love Connor's videos too. They're good. Definitely sort of filling a void, like videos that no one else is really making.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a big fan. But my pick for 2023 content creator of the year is Kieran Rose. Actually, I'm a big fan of his. I think that in terms of turnaround time from tournament to highlight video, his average is
A day?
it's pretty. It's
2 days?
It's hard to. You don't really see much like that.
Yeah.
Another like side thing, I love the songs that he uses in
Yes,
his highlight
good
videos.
music,
Like I just
great
yeah,
music,
great
Good
music.
feel good music.
And that
Yeah.
to me that kind of makes the highlight video. Like the song
funny.
is
That's so
the
nice.
song is
Enjoying
big for me.
yourself.
The song
Yeah.
is big for me. But he also makes good plays and makes like an entertaining video. But just the turnaround time is insane. He also sort of previews his highlight videos with an Instagram post, which I like. And it's like profit boost from whatever tournament, highlights in bio, and with a few good clips. So, he's getting it done on YouTube, getting it done on Instagram.
Also, the stats.
The
He
stats
put
is great.
consistent
No one
stats. I think
else
it was
is really
Kieran,
doing
right?
that.
It was Kieran doing that for Profit Boost?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, putting
think.
I'm pretty sure, after every single tournament, throwing stats up for
Break down how they played, yeah.
Percentages and everything.
I didn't see anyone else doing that.
Yeah.
So, at least,
That's a great
correct
pick.
me if I'm wrong. I can't think of anyone else doing that.
That's a great
but-
pick.
That's a great pick.
So, shout out to Kieran Rose.
Shout out to Kieran Rose.
Shout out to Scott
Because we
Peaks
don't
and
talk
Connor.
about him enough.
Shout out to Scott Peaks and
yeah,
Connor
we
too.
do. We like talking about Kieran. Kieran's fun to talk about. Great, 3 solid, great picks. Congratulations to the content creators of the year. A lot of great people. Too many to get into honorable mentions. But there's
Yeah.
more people creating valuable RoundNet related content this year, tenfold than there was last year this time. And I think it's going to continue to skyrocket.
Hope it
and
does.
it's all good stuff. Something you want to say?
Can I just say post of the year goes to TRP with Rogue Roundnets showing up to a Livonia pickup.
Great video, yeah.
The post of the
Great
year.
video.
Who are you? Did you put it on the Spikeball app?
That was funny.
I have push, you have pull. There's only 2 ways to do it. It's the funniest thing in the world.
Yeah,
That was
great.
the first video in such a long time, RoundNet wise, that I actually laughed.
You were
hard.
actually into
Like,
it.
it was
like
so funny in the moment. I said this like everybody. I was like, this is the funniest thing in the world.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to. We'll hit these 2 at a time. We're gonna get into venues. Venue of the year, 2023 venue of the year, and 2023 venue. That left something to be desired. I'll just continue to roll. We'll go both, positive and negative. I'll just fire both. My venue of the year, I was tough with this one. I loved Salt Lake City. It has a special place in my heart because I got Premier there too. But it was like indoor, outdoory field. I freaking loved it. But I'm gonna go with. That's my honorable mention. I'm gonna go with Jacksonville, Florida, the opening tournament of the year, run by Dom Orlando. It was the only tournament the whole season that I played on grass, not on turf. And I absolutely love grass.
Can't argue with that.
And the Florida sun, and then the next day we kind of went to the beach. I know that doesn't play into the venue, but it kind of plays into the experience. But on grass, took place on like a field and a half. So it was all kind of tight, run really well. I'm going to go with Jacksonville, the Florida opener. I hope they run it back. It doesn't have to be in Jacksonville, but I hope they run it back in Florida, and I hope it's on grass again because you guys did an unbelievable job, and I will be back this year with our whole gang. Worst venue of the year actually was the Connecticut tournament in August for Ethan's song for me. I really didn't like the venue. I felt like it was... It looked a little like thrown together and a little rushed. A couple of reasons why. if you were there and you had to use the restroom, you had to walk about a quarter mile. That's about an exaggeration. Eighth of a mile out, down 2 hills, around into a restroom where there was like a stall and a half. Not ideal. If you had to walk to the parking lot, you had to probably go about the same distance, an eighth of a mile up a hill back to the parking lot. Not ideal. This wasn't me because I was playing at the Premier Field at the time, but I had some friends that went with me that played advanced. They had no lines. They just had hash marks. I think at this point in time, that's unacceptable. I think there should be lines. Unless you're doing hash marks for everybody, there's no running out of paint. Everybody should just have circles. It shouldn't be a hash marky thing for the advanced thing. I feel like we're beyond that. That's just kind of weird to me. And those are my notes on Ethan's song. How the tournament was run, no problems. It was very smooth. It was the quickest tournament of the year that I've been to. I thought the tournament director, who was Ben on the day, did an unbelievable job. Just the venue itself, I felt, fell short. And not so much that I wouldn't go back, but if I had to pinpoint one for being something that I kind of left being like, that place was kind of meh, that would be it for me. That's it. Who wants to go next? Max, take it.
Yeah, I didn't play every venue. Unfortunately, there's a lot that look really sick. Like the Fortress in Columbus looks like a dope venue. I've never been there, but it looks really cool. But my favorite venue would have to be the Proving Grounds. I guess maybe it's because I played there before with Nationals 2 years ago, so I know it kind of well. But I like the snack bar they got going. I like the whole. I like that whole central building that they have, where you can like store stuff. Like they stored all the Mammoth sets in there, just so like to make things easier. Tons of parking, tons of fields, lots of bleachers to watch. There's just lots of room, lots of space. So, yeah, I was a big fan of the Proving Grounds as far as venue goes. I like the Philly major spot too. That was also good. Bit different of a location, but
that was cool.
That whole sports complex I thought was really nice. Food inside, air conditioning.
That's true.
So yeah, so I was a big fan of that.
Do you have a least or not really?
Not really. It's hard for me to be critical of venues because I feel like when I'm at a tournament, I'm just sort of happy to be there.
Right.
It's just not something I think about. It's like
you don't have to.
If a venue sort of like exceeds expectations or is just like really solid, that comes to mind. But if I'm just like, I just see it as just another turf field, sort of, like it just, yeah, it's another field, pretty much the same as all the others. So yeah, I don't think I have a least favorite.
That's fair. Maddie, what do you think? You
So-
have anything?
Proving Grounds was so close for number one for me just because of how nostalgic it was. My first tournament ever was 2021 Nationals at the Proving Grounds.
Wow.
So it was like going back there and watching
That's
it
cool.
all again, but knowing everybody now and like being a part of the community was super cool. But best venue by far is Salt Lake City. I think indoor, no wind. Then you are able to look out at the awesome mountains. All one giant, like there was multiple fields, but it's one giant room. So like you see everything going on. I can walk from your contender run or premier run all the way back to the pros and almost like see within seconds either or. Everybody was kind of so close and together. There was bleachers, there was chairs, there was just sidelines to sit on. It was super cool, super community, but still a lot of space. And I just loved the indoor feel and everything like that, and the consistency of the play there. I just thought I loved it. I think I love playing indoor over outdoor now because of that.
Wow.
So that sold it for me. And then for the worst venue of the year, you're probably gonna be surprised to hear this, but
What?
Columbus.
Really?
The Fortress. I hated the
Interesting.
Fortress because
The Jumbotron?
the Jumbotron was cool. Salt Lake City had the Jumbotron, which was bigger and better. But the Columbus, it was one smaller field. It's like a football field that they put everything on. It's too small for all the divisions. And we had that problem last year where we had to wait for the advanced players and like beginner players, intermediate players to start because there wasn't enough room for them. So they started when we were on lunch break, which was like crazy in the first place.
Wow.
And then, so aside from the nets being right next to each other, so there's not enough room, and then you can really only put your stuff up the stairs on the bleachers. You like putting it on the sideline was awkward and really far away from everything else, whereas you had to put everything up on the bleachers. You had to hang out up on these steel hot bleachers, and it was just awkward.
Yeah,
and then
interesting.
we couldn't even bring our own chairs out on the field because the guy
really?
was out yelling at us for putting our lawn chairs on the turf because it was messing it up somehow. So I had to sit on the ground or stand, and it was just not a fun experience for me.
Whoa, that's a really,
Yeah.
really good answer for different reasons. Wow, I wouldn't have thought about that. How about Salt Lake City when there was a big play, the roar in that place?
Oh
Wasn't
my
it
gosh,
crazy?
it echoed.
Because it echoed?
Echoed.
I can believe
It was unreal.
It was awesome.
Yeah, it was like, it was unbelievable. So, two solid picks. I like both of those picks. And I like your Columbus pick for different reasons, too. It makes sense. I wasn't there last year. I'm sorry, this year, but I was there last year. And thinking back to it, it was a nuisance having to walk all the way over just to get to my stuff.
Like up on the bleachers.
Yeah, like not your water bottle and simple things, but
Yeah.
go back to get to your lunch or get to like this and that.
The bathrooms were also really far.
Yeah.
And
Bathroom's a hike.
yeah.
All right, we're coming to an end here. A few more. 2023 Fan of the Year.
Can I go first?
Please do.
So, my 2023 fan of the year, and I think there's only one answer because Livonia's just different. Cliff Levique coming to the championship in a whole Rogue getup. He was cheering on Rogue from the very beginning, and you heard him from the beginner field 20 miles away. Like, this guy lost his voice at every single tournament after pole play. For Rogue, it was just, and hearing him is just so cool, and just like you get a good feeling watching him watch Rogue. Like you could just watch him watch Rogue and know what's going on. You didn't have to watch the actual game.
Max?
I think he's kind of the only pick. I would have to agree. You guys weren't at Bang, but he made his presence known, and I think he does at every tournament. So, yeah, I'd have to agree.
Following the footsteps of Jack Bouchard,
Yeah,
maybe.
2023 Fan of the Year for you guys. I think it's a very, very solid pick. I'm going to go in a little bit of a different direction because I was sort of like, not in a mean way, but I was sort of like anti-Rogue this year just because I felt like rooting for them directly impacted me rooting for Judgment Day. Felt like counterintuitive to be pulling for them. Like the sooner they were eliminated, it felt like the better chance Judgment Day had of like winning, kind of in my mind. So I kind of been anti-Rogue this year, to be honest with you. But my 2023 Fan of the Year is actually going to go to Buddy Hammond, and it's going to go on one performance that I saw by him. It was a quarterfinals loss that he had to Judgment Day, which he then followed up minutes later being on the sideline rooting for 2K against Twins and yelling like he was in that final and didn't go off and like sulk. He just like he literally just like dealt with it, compartmentalized the loss, dealt with it for like 4.5 seconds, grabbed a beer, and was there screaming for these girls after his whole season had just ended. And I just thought that I was really, really like impressed with his poise in that moment. Somebody that is known for winning and has already won, to not just sit there and have this woe is me, like, damn, that sucks, but to flip that switch that quickly and to go over and root for his, I know those are his people too from California. I was just like, you know what, I hope one day I'm in a meaningful game, and if I happen to lose, I can rebound like that. Because I'm not notorious for being the best loser, but I hope I could harness a little bit of that energy. I was impressed with him.
He's a people pleaser.
Yeah, I thought he did an unbelievable job. 2023 Tournament Director of the Year. It's tough. For me, it's between two guys. It's between Ben Dantowitz. It's between Jonas Wellinger. Ben Dantowitz does an unbelievable job, gives great feedback. He's just the guy. You know when you sign up for a tournament run by Ben, you're going to get his very best, and I really like that. Jonah, on the other hand, for me, it was kind of like a tie, but I will give everyone an award. Jonah felt like a bit of a tougher assignment doing the majors and having more kind of to deal with more people and balancing more, like, not really more divisions, but more people in more divisions. And you could tell he wore that, and then he did the announcing, and he did a whole bunch of shit, commentating, I mean. So I'm ultimately going to give the award to Jonah because I felt like he had a harder job. He had more on his plate, and he still delivered. But it's a close second to Ben for his pure excellence in tournament directing and how he really values people's inputs. So I'm going to go Jonah, but it was close.
My pick would be Ben. I think I've been playing for a couple years, and I've played a good amount of tournaments run by Ben, and just every one he delivers at. It just feels so... It's so much fun playing at his tournaments, and he keeps things moving so well, provides tons of snacks, water, like whatever you need. The tournament coming up, Thanksgiving weekend that he runs every year, I think is always flawless. He gets bagels and pizza for everyone, and he's probably the only tournament director I've heard ask ahead of time what kind of pizza you want and what kind of bagels
cool.
you want, and that's
his attention to detail.
His attention to detail is crazy, and yeah, like you said, he'll ask for feedback every time for his tournaments because he cares that much about how well they're ran. So I'm a big fan, always have been, probably always will be, of Ben Tantowitz's tournaments.
It was hard for me not to pick Ben because of all the tournaments I've been to for ERS, like this year, last year, and all the ones that he's been doing such a great job at. But I just think he's a little too by the book for my liking.
Fair.
Like, he does everything perfectly.
True.
But that means if you have an hour lunch break, you're going to get 60 minutes of a lunch break, and that's it. No more, no less, you know? And it's a little bit too much by the book for me. Whereas when I went down to Atlanta to play a tournament, I thought it was the best tournament experience as far as a player standpoint, just because I didn't feel rushed, but I also didn't feel like we were going too fast. The pace of play was it was just really good just on its own without any tournament director down your back trying to say oh, are you playing? Everything just went smoothly by the player standpoint. So I thought David did a really, really good job of doing that. And just by he had a merch stand for the PRA teams like Rogue and Twins and that kind of stuff. He had drinks and stuff, Gatorade he was selling, the water available for everybody at all times. And it was just, he's a cool guy, he's a fun guy to listen to, having the pre-tourney speech and all that stuff. And just when I got to the end of it, it was more of a relaxing, very pace of play, really just go do your thing and have fun. And that's exactly what happened. I had a lot of fun at that tournament and just didn't feel any pressure from the tournament director at all. It was just, that's...
So you like that laid back style of TDing a little bit more?
I do. But I know that's not the direction the sports has to go in to grow.
Right, but it
to the
appeals
point of
to you.
Professionalism. But I did like it. It felt nice to go from Ben being okay, 12:30 needs to be done. Lunchtime, then we got bracket starts at 1:30 exactly. We need to be in these spots on this field at 1:30. You know.
Right.
And Dave was all right, go play. And then when you're done, put your scores at Fuego, finish up, eat lunch, and then we'll try to get bracket by this time. I said, all right, buddy, start your bracket games, kind of thing. It was it was cool.
Cool. I wouldn't have anticipated you go in that direction. Okay, we have but one more category. We kind of give our Player of the Year award. This year we're going with 2023, end of season world number one. It's essentially who you feel as the season comes to an end, you would put as the number one overall player in the game today. I kind of want to go last, see which direction you guys go. I have my answer. It won't change, but I'm more interested in where you guys go. Max, you care to take the floor?
Do you want to say it together?
Let's go with Max.
I get a feeling we might have some agreement.
Yeah.
But yeah, my 2023 Player of the Year would have to be Gabriel Finaki. That would be mine. I think he dominated all year. In terms of result consistency, I think he's the only player who never missed a podium
Except for the championship.
Except for the championship. Never missed semifinals.
When it mattered.
My bad.
Okay.
Never missed semifinals.
semis. That's true.
Never missed semifinals. And that's not just at the majors. That's at challengers, mashing up with other partners. Won a pitcher with Brendan. Second place with Ryan Gross in Atlanta.
One with Church.
One with Taylor Church. And in terms of impact that a player can have on a game, I think it's very hard to rival his. I think that he can just turn games he can turn a game on its head. There are a few players who can do that for sure. But in my opinion of who is the best player in the world right now, best player of the season, however you want to slice it, have to be Gabe Pinocchi.
You want to go next?
Wasn't my answer.
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna go this different route, and
You want me to go next? You want to go next?
I'll go. Definitely, my thought was between Gabe and Ryan.
Me too.
But
I feel like if it's not,
that was my top two.
Yeah.
For
if that's, do you think it's too much of a take to say if that's not your opinion that you're kind of just off?
I think you're wrong.
I think you're just off a bit.
The 1-2 is definitely Gabe and Ryan, and you can't it could go either
Yeah.
way. But the 1-2 is Gabe and Ryan. I think Ryan took Gabe this season. I think Ryan just performed more consistently, really well all season. Like Ryan played so well, as Jonah put it in the last pod. He said everybody just was going to try and play like Ryan Marino, because he just played stellar, and his performance and his athleticism this year and his skill level this year went through the roof, and I think he outplayed everybody, and maybe just didn't get the final results that he wanted. But again, it's just, I think as a individual, Marino's skill level is the best in the world.
Okay. That's funny, bro. I mean, it's obviously not a crazy, it's a good take. It's just off, it's just wrong, but it's a good take. The best player in the world is Gabe Finocchi. Last year I said it's Gabe Finocchi, and it's not that close. This year I'll say it's Gabe Finocchi, and it's closer.
It's very close.
It's
not
close.
the other way.
Very close. I agree.
Listen, I wanted to put together some figures here for the people at home.
Numbers guy.
Oh,
yeah.
This is the numbers.
This is the numbers here. Gabe versus Marino, 1 versus 2. Who's 1? Who's 2? If those aren't your 1 and 2, I'd honestly, I'll plug my phone number in this son of a gun. I'd like you to call me, and we'll have a chat. Maybe just actually a DM on Instagram or something, because I'd like to chat about who slides into your 1-2. Because I'm actually curious, unless you're just you're BSing and trying to be silly. But what better way to determine a 1 versus 2 as opposed to head-to-head matchups on the season? How they played when they played each other. How they played when the cards decided it's 1 versus 1. Only 2 people left. No, don't look at my numbers. I want you to pay attention.
I'm not listening.
The chips are on the table and 2 people are all in. Who wins? This is how it went. Gabe played Judgment Day, played Rogue, the first tournament of the year in Virginia. Richmond. They played 2 times in pool play, and they played a best-of-3 series in bracket. They split in pool play. Rogue beat them 2 games to 1 in bracket.
Yep.
Okay. He played with Ryan Gross in Atlanta against Rogue, and they lost 2-0. Rogue took 2-0.
Handily.
I have the figures. You don't have to finger count. I'll give it to you.
Is that what it is right now? Yeah.
When they played Brendan Ferreira, he played with Brendan Ferreira, I believe it was in North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
And in this series, it wasn't Brendan Ferreira and Gabe versus Rogue. It was Brendan Ferreira and Gabe versus Chu. Is it Patrick Chu?
Patrick Chu. Yeah.
Chu and Marino, who were teammates last year. You could argue, Chu versus Ferreira, I'd say they're close. Maybe Ferreira was a little bit more active this year, but I don't know anyone that'd say one is definitely a ton better than the other. I think it's pretty close. Maybe another argument for another day, but I don't know. Gabe and Brendan Ferreira beat them in pool play once, and then beat them in a best out of 3, in a series to 3, in bracket, in the finals. Judgment Day played against Rogue in Columbus in the 3rd and 4th place game. You may say, well, Josh, let's be real. It's 3rd and 4th place game. I'd counter you with, look at Ryan Marino's face anytime he loses a game. Do you think he ever lays down and rolls over for anyone and decides, yeah, you can have this? No fucking chance. The guy, I bet you in pickup, he tries to dominate people unless it's their first day on the lot. I mean, you saw the video. The video is probably a little bit of truth. And then the final result that I have is, that was the pool play matchup. So it was just Columbus, third, fourth place game where Judgment Day won 2-0. Over the course of all those matches that I just mentioned to the pod, overall score 258 points scored by Gabriel Fanaki, 260 points scored by Ryan Marino and company. Gabriel with 7 wins, Ryan Marino with 6. It's very close. We're splitting hairs with this. I think that either answer is somewhat acceptable, but Gabe has 7 wins head-to-head versus Ryan Marino. He was unbelievably consistent. Max said he didn't miss a podium-ish, didn't miss a semifinal.
Yeah.
Same, we're pretty much in the same boat with that. For me, it's just has to be Gabe. Do you have anything you want to say to my numbers game, to any of these statistics with their results this year?
Who won more tournaments? Who has more pitchers? Like, who brought home more pitchers this year? Who had more STS points this year?
But that's not the question. The question isn't who had more first place finishes. It's just who's the world number 1.
I think they can go hand in hand, right?
I don't think so.
I think they can go.
Because there's too many arguments.
I think they can go hand in hand.
Sure, they could.
I think eye test, as we talk about when we were like discussing people and skill level, I think watching Marino, he's just such a solid rock of a player. And then just this year alone, him and Gabe, literally, it's splitting hairs, as you said. I think it can go either way.
Who do you think had a better partner for the longevity of the season?
I think both of them had their ons and offs. I really do. I think it's really hard to tell. I think Fred had his moments, and I think Thomas had his moments, but I think they both also fell short in some ways. I would say Thomas probably played a little better over the season.
We're talking about 2 players who are 10 out of 10 scale.
We're
talking about the cream of the crop.
Yeah.
But I would say that Thomas, I think people would say he was more consistent and more dominant this year.
Yeah, but I still think Fred had that power factor that Thomas didn't. Like, Fred had that wow factor that would come up every once in a while. Like, saying, like,
really?
I do think so.
I don't think so.
I do think so. He had those,
wow
he had
factor
those moments.
is interesting phrasing for me.
But he had his moments where it was just like, oh, Fred can still play.
Absolutely.
Well, he played great in the championship, but I don't know.
Exactly.
I don't think
Columbus as well. I think he played super well.
But I wasn't at Columbus. I can't speak to Columbus.
I think, and then there were also moments where Thomas kind of fell short, but also had his days where he was like playing super solid. But I just think looking at individual players, I thought Marino just looked better, looked more consistent, looked more. I just thought, in my opinion, that was it.
Well, listen.
Yeah.
We've each set the stage. I mean, your answer was Gabe. With our sort of back and forth, what for you pushes it in his favor, even if it's just the least bit?
I'm trying my hardest to eliminate all bias I have, because obviously I see Gabe a lot more than Ryan. I'm a huge fan of Ryan.
Yes, me too.
Obviously, he won 2 of my awards. He was I picked him twice for various end of the season awards.
Serving and clutch.
But yeah, and I wouldn't change those awards.
Yeah.
I just think what does it for me is I probably put more stock into the end of the season, sort of Rogue's super high beginning and middle of the season, where they were winning everything, and handily, I would probably add. And then sort of, I noticed this at Bang. Bang was the first time that I saw Rogue look human. Bang was the first, Bang, because prior to that, even Philly, where they were definitely challenged in Philly, I think probably more than they had been the whole year. They still pulled it out, but Bang was the first time I saw them actually look human and teams actually put up a real fight. And I'm talking about Critical Hit, because they battled with them, and you could say should have won. Maybe not, maybe should have isn't the right phrasing, but were in position to win. Had the advantage late, about as late as it gets, but couldn't pull it out. But that we hadn't really seen that prior to prior to Bang. We really hadn't seen that throughout the season.
Yeah.
And then we roll into Columbus, right, where Gabe and Fred, Thomas and Ryan, both pretty good tournaments overall. Gabe and Fred did get the upper hand. But I think it's interesting seeing watching Rogue at Bang, and then I wasn't at Columbus, but seeing the footage of them, mostly against Bad Combo, I saw a lot of what I saw at Bang, where they just weren't making those plays that really shock you. I just didn't quite see those insane soft touches from Ryan where he makes a 40-foot recovery set right over the net. Like, they just weren't. It almost seemed like he fizzled out a little bit, you know? Sort of like how a firecracker has its peak and then eventually can't last forever. That's sort of what I saw, and then I felt like it kind of all came to fruition at the championship. Granted, they probably ran into the worst team you could have ran into in the quarterfinals, but Rogue lost game 2 and 3 very handily in that series, and
yeah,
I don't really. I don't think you would have seen that earlier in the season. So I think Ryan had an insane start and even middle to the season, whereas Gabe was more just consistently good the whole time. And for me, the consistency and results is what sort of puts it over the top for me.
Yeah,
That's valid arguments for both sides.
Yeah,
I would say maybe what's pushing me over the edge is the fact that Gabe, at least a little bit ago when I did ask him, he would say that Marino was better than him. So that's what he did. He said that.
Bro, we can't throw that. We can't throw that on here
Why not?
because I've literally never heard him say that.
Have you heard him say the opposite?
Yes.
Okay.
When?
I've never asked him. So
Recently?
Like 4 hours ago?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, so earlier, this was,
Maybe was this pre-Columbus?
I think it was right around Columbus time. He
Interesting.
said that
Interesting.
he would put Marino number 1 in the world. It was,
I trust
And to
you.
be
It's-
honest,
but-
at the time I would have agreed.
yeah,
At the time I would have agreed.
yeah. A lot
You
has
know what
happened
else?
since.
You know what else I want to bring up, bro? We were both there for that tournament in where were we? Maryland. We were in Maryland, right?
Yeah.
Maryland Monumental.
And remember Ryan Marino played with Ryan Gross,
Yeah,
and they got smacked around by Clark and Joe Bondi in 2.
yeah.
And then Gabe went to the finals with
Cole Modell.
Cole Modell, not Max Modell, Cole Modell.
Yeah.
Played against those same 2, and he won Gabe won game 1 by himself, like 21-11. And then game 2 and 3, they went in shambles a little bit.
But yeah,
There's a little something there too. What I'm getting at is it's so
Gabe is
close.
clutch. Gabe is clutch. Tell me he's not.
They're two
can't.
great
No,
answers.
yeah, they are.
And I'm
It's
not
definitely, they're 1 and 2, 100%.
No, he didn't. I mean, I've alluded to it. I guess he's never really said to me, I'm world's number 1, so I really should retract that. He's never really come out and said it. I said to him, like, I feel like you're probably still number 1, and he's just like, I like that take, that kind of thing. So if he told you point blank, I obviously trust you. We'll get him on the pod here eventually and maybe pick his brain a little bit. Maybe he'll say it's a tie. He's pretty diplomatic too, and he really does like love this game and love everybody in it. So I don't know. I just think he'd be hype about just us having the conversation
For sure.
in general. It's fun.
For sure.
That's
He'd
fun.
just like to be a part of the ride.
I don't think he would ever say that he's number 1.
He would
You
never.
might be right. I mean,
I just don't think you'd get that out of him. No
I
matter
think
how
he's
true it could be.
alluded to it though. He's
No,
like,
he has. I
he's-
think he has.
He's
before.
alluded to it, but
Yeah.
I don't see him just point blank saying.
Yeah, he's point blank. He has point blank said earlier. Definitely after like the beginning of the season, he said Marino was number 1.
And I would
Yeah,
agree.
But
I would
then
have agreed.
I think prior to that, he talked about how he said that he was number 1. That he would thought that. So, and I've had this conversation with him where he has.
Is he
not-
the number 1 on USAR?
I believe so.
Is he?
That's
I
interesting.
think so. We
USAR also has like Kevin McLean.
I also
over
yeah,
me,
that,
which is
and that's
weird.
that's
USAR 's
that's
yeah.
not
It's
the
wonky.
best metric.
It is wonky.
You're throwing shots at Kev again. Twice. Poor Kev. He's out there.
He's played, like,
patrolling
two
the
tournaments.
streets, keeping us safe.
I bet you think Justin Shatar's way too high on there also.
Way too high. He's above Kieran. I
But we
think
did-
Kieran's played more. and gotten better results without Justin because Justin hasn't played without Kieran, right? So I just don't. It just doesn't
Don't
make
what
sense.
the criteria is.
Doesn't
We
make
don't know the
sense.
criteria.
Yeah, I think there's more averages versus just.
It is. It's
points.
more of a numbers game.
Yeah, it's
than-
interesting.
Yeah.
It's actually, I think, solely
a numbers game.
Yeah.
That is how it works. Yeah. But yeah, those are our 2023 rankings.
That was a lot of fun.
Hate it or
It's
love
fun to
'em.
go through them. Hate them or love them.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
It's a lot of good takes. It's a lot of bad takes. It's just they're just takes.
If you guys absolutely hate any of our takes,
Oh yeah.
drop a comment.
Please
if you
let us
guys
know.
absolutely love any of our takes, drop a comment. If you guys want to join us and put your answers for all these,
Yeah, that'd be
throw
fun.
them in there.
Throw them in the comments.
Yeah.
Who you feel like is your nominee, your choice, your selection, your honorable mentions. If we mention the person that you were thinking of, we're gonna post this. They'll be on the IG page too. We'll have a little tab. We'll tag people. So get in there and talk about where we went wrong. See if you agree with me in the debate. Who do you think's a better defender, Gabe Finocchi or Matt Cole?
I'm interested to see how
I'm
that
interested
shakes out.
too.
And
Let's
I
go
think,
on
I
the
think
story
it's close,
tonight.
but
Yeah.
I do want to know because I don't know. He's my defender of the year. I really thought
I
he
think
was
you'll
unbelievable.
I think you'll be displeased.
Yeah.
I'll be honest.
Really?
I
You
don't-
think
I don't
Matt-
think
you
it's gonna
you
go
think
in your
Matt
favor.
Cole, you and Matt are all just right, and I'm just even.
We'll have
Matt
an
Cole
answer.
didn't even say himself.
We'll have an answer by the time the pod goes out.
Yeah.
I'll put it on the SLP story tonight.
Also, not something to keep in mind. Matt Cole right now, he's like buying stock in Bitcoin. It's like because he just won the chip.
Mhm.
Could be a little bit of this, so you could get a little bit of that trickle down. People seeing Matt Cole's name in a poll, defense. What he did in the championship could lead to a few more votes.
Recency
Maybe.
bias
Is
is
a
very
thing.
is very
But
prominent.
and I want to touch on that too. Matt Cole, you were our first ever call in. I really do appreciate you coming in.
History.
It was, and we want to do more of them. They were a lot of fun. Tonight it was kind of just one question, so we didn't really get to dig in and get any real insight from him. But he gave us a true and honest answer. Everyone here seems to think that he's right. Maybe I'm in the minority because I was just so impressed with him in the championship and him throughout the season, winning pitchers in 2 spots and showing up all year. I was just impressed with him, so maybe I let that get to me a little bit. It's our 2023 end-of-year rankings. We had Max Gunneson on the podcast. I was very much happy to hear that you were interested in coming on and being a part of a show, but especially this show, because I think you offer really good insight. I feel like you're not affected by other people's takes. You stick true to yourself. You have a good feel with the European and overseas scene. So we got a couple answers from you that I don't think we would have clearly gotten from just he and I solely, because we don't have the knowledge.
Yeah.
I think a pick of mine that's going to get shredded if people take the time is probably my Kara Hoy take. Now that I'm looking back on it, it's a bad
I'm
take.
sure we'll hear about
It's a
that
bad
one.
take because she's been good for a while. And from the way you both looked at me when I said it, I was like, well, shit, that was probably
Like,
bad.
well, let's see where this goes.
It's like, where is he
All
going?
right.
Yeah, but I just thought that she impressed me, so maybe I'll retract it and say she was one of the most impressive performances at the championship on the female side. I didn't see that. I didn't know she was capable of that, and she was just unbelievable. Yeah, she was.
And all
she was
year.
thumping.
And all
Yeah.
year.
And all year. There you go. We weren't. Yeah. So 2023. Anything you want to say here, bro? As we close this absolute banger of an episode out.
Go to Instagram. Follow at Spiked Lemonade Pod.
Yeah.
Follow at Max Gunneson. Just Max Gunneson.
Doc Gunnison, 11.
Max.Gunnison11 on Instagram.
I post
Go
a ton.
follow. Go see his Europe adventures.
Yeah.
That's
You
true.
see a
are some
couple,
cool
couple
pictures.
pics in there. It's pretty cool.
Cool
Follow
spots.
at Josh Dito and Roundnet. Follow at Matt Spo Roundnet. And please subscribe. Follow our Spotify. You can rate us on Spotify too. 5 stars.
We
would
have
be
a perfect
great.
5-star rating.
Yeah. Don't
Really?
ruin it.
We do.
And
This is
you just can't make that up.
No,
Yeah,
you
you
can't.
really- I mean-
That's fact.
I think it's only seven ratings, but it's
Yeah.
still 5 stars.
7 for 7.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. So please follow us on all platforms. It really goes. It's a lot of help towards us getting our brand out there and
Yes.
just the pod out there. I know all of you guys are already listening, but for the fact of like we're getting probably on average 500 to 600 views and listens across YouTube and Spotify. So, but only like 200 followers. So that doesn't add up. What are you doing?
Funny.
Please follow, subscribe, comment,
Follow
ring
me.
the notification bell, like
Nice.
this guy here,
Ring the bell.
so you
Yeah,
know.
he was notified one time.
when
had
we
the pod.
post. Yeah.
That's absolutely right.
Yeah.
Max, do you have anything you want to give us here before we close her down?
I mean, thank you guys for having me. Obviously, like I said, big fan.
Number
always
one
have
fan,
been.
possibly.
I could
The
maybe
day
make
one.
the argument. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, I was
You were the
one of the
day
early
one.
viewers. Yeah, for sure. And I'm so glad like how this podcast has grown over time. Like from where it started to like where it is now. I mean, we're talking into microphones now, so it's like
We got
who'd have thunk it?
We got lights. We got lights. We
We're
got
not-
production.
And if,
Max,
if you can believe it,
crashing
we're not being filmed on an iPhone. Like,
That's true. That's true.
I know, and it's but you know
This guy.
the podcast comes a long way.
Yeah.
You give things time, things get better. So yeah, stoked to come on here. Happy to talk about the rankings and what we thought of the season. Been a great season. Already itching to play next year, and yeah, really wish this podcast all the best. I think it's going to the moon. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Thank you, bro.
Appreciate that. Appreciate that.
More and more
yeah.
guests.
Yep. We'll keep on growing, keep on pushing, more guests, more fun. Take some more insight from the viewer. Try and make it, viewer friendly and fun. Max, I hope you'll come back and join us again.
I would be
at
honored.
a time very soon. Especially with you so close, being in Delaware. That's really not too far.
No.
This episode's been really fun. I look forward to releasing this, getting some feedback. Coming soon, we're going to be talking about a little bit, some things happening in New Jersey, some things specific to the Lemon Lads, teams for 2024, some pro teams potentially for 2024. Hoping to get Gabe on the pod. We can get him probably whenever, but I want to have him on to announce his team for 2024. So he confirmed he's going to come on and make that announcement here, which would be badass.
Yep.
I don't think that's a finalized done deal yet, but some things in the works. But that'll be cool to have here. He said we'll drop it first on the podcast. That'll be fun.
Love that.
Yeah. So 2023 rewards. Geez, kind of awards in the books. Market. Episode. What are we on, brother?
17.
Episode 17. We're gonna just keep on pushing.
Flown by.
Yeah.
Spike Lemonade Pod, in here in South Jersey, Bristol, New Jersey. And here we're good one with the boys. There you go.
80s, guys.
Spike lemonade, spike lemonade.
That was great.
Spike lemonade.